No sound. They can't hear you. They can't hear you. Yep, yep. They can hear me. Oh, wonderful. Interesting. Well, then I can say, hey, welcome everybody. It's Everborn Saga on the ones and twos, so give them some time.
Okay, wait,
But
hold on,
yes,
hold on, hold on. How about now?
yeah, please let us know if you can hear both of us. Oh, they still can't hear. They still can't hear Everborn Saga. They can hear
They
me though.
cannot hear me. They should be able to hear me now because my mic is no
Yes,
longer on mute.
yes. So okay, while we're still working logistics, welcome to the show. This is on the real, Mr. Everborn Saga show. We decided this week to do a bit of a change up because we want to reintroduce on the real to the folks. We're doing the 2022 show for on the real. This is hopefully it's going to be good. Oh, huh? Mike will be acting crazy. I hope you folks can all hear me. For audio listeners, we're taking some advice from folks in the chat. I will be putting this on the Gaming Circle podcast feed because I want folks to hear it and I want folks to be about it. We will be doing this moving forward on Everborn Saga's channel, but for this week we thought we'd do a little something special and we are talking about video game adjacent movies and TV, so we figured this is a perfect way to thread that needle. But Mr. Everborn Saga, how's everything looking? We good?
Well, I don't know. Can the people hear me? That's the question.
Juvie says we hear you both now. So
okay, so they did hear me. There we go. It's a delay.
That's right.
All right. So let me do the whole spiel again.
Please.
You are joining us on a very special and strange day. This is On the Real, my show in the Gaming Circle podcast's time slot, streaming from my location to Mr. K. Asante's YouTube channel. So, and I do want to say, I apologize for all of the technical difficulties, but this is all K. Asante's fault because he wanted to do
CPT,
it.
Baby.
CPT.
He started at 10 a.m. for a 10 a.m.
do it in this big technical, like let's do all the magic and all the other stuff. Let's do your show in my time slot and use this stream key and put that in. It's his fault. If there's anybody to blame.
It's working, isn't it? It just worked later because we didn't start early enough. But let's continue.
I'm just saying. Okay, so we have a lot to talk about, and I've been trying to get this show going again, but life happens and all that jazz. So I want to start by, this is the Gaming Circle podcast slot, so I want to start talking about something gaming related, which is Mr. K. Asante's background, which is Halo.
Oh, yeah.
Now, this is his background because he is, in fact, in the Halo show. He plays Commander Keyes. And do not let him tell you any differently.
Sure.
And I can put you up on the Summer Jam screen if you want, sir.
You are able and capable of doing whatever it is you so choose, Mr. One and Twos. Do what you see fit. But I will say, I found out why this man looks so much like me. It's because he is from where I am from, so we have a similar look.
He looks exactly like you. He's from where you're from. It's you. God damn it.
Much like Idris Elba, who's a British actor.
But he don't look like you.
Well, hold
You don't
on.
look like
Actually,
Idris Elba, sir.
actually, Idris Elba looks a lot like my dad, but that's neither here nor there. He originally is from Ghana, and this guy, Danny Sapati, that's his name. He's also a British actor who originally is from Ghana, and I guess us Ghanaians all have the same kind of a look. So there you go. I'll take it as long as the wallet stays good. Maybe with this, one day somebody will give me a free meal. We shall see. But I'm good with it. He did a great job. He's a great actor, and I am happy
Yeah.
to be associated with him. And by the way, he was in Black Panther. Most people don't know
So
that.
you
But
were in
let's
Black
leave it at
Panther
that.
too. Look at you.
Sure, yes,
Moonlighting
I
as
was
an
in Black
actor.
Panther.
I see you.
Mm.
I see you. Okay. All right. Okay.
Dude.
So,
Mm-hmm.
hey,
Ooh, can we set the rules of engagement a bit? Because I know folks in the chat, some of them were a little concerned that they haven't seen some of these properties or whatnot. Can we let folks know when we're about to be spoilery?
no. No,
Oh,
I'm joking. I'm joking. Okay. No, but I think we have to get okay. Let's start with what I think is the elephant in the room. Helmet Gate. Now there are a lot of people that are upset that Spartans are not Mandalorians. They feel that the chief should not have taken off his helmet. Some people say at all. To that I would say, how does he eat, sleep, and poop? Some say he shouldn't have taken it off and left it off. To that I say he was in a ship, not in battle. Some people say they have added their own fan fiction to it and said he's not a person and he doesn't feel comfortable taking off his helmet. I want to know where in the lore it says that. Someone please show me. Some people say that he left it off for too long, right? Some people say it takes away from the character. Some people say they shouldn't have showed it so soon. There was no build up to it. Some people say it should have happened in the game first. And to that, I'd say it's been happening in the extended lore, and it did happen in the game first in Halo 4 if you beat it on Legendary.
Oh, and I see Mr. Slow-Mo Backslap in the chat asking where his invite is.
I got you, Slow-Mo. Get your Skype ready. We're doing this through Skype. Okay, so let's see.
Okay.
Tell me where you stand on Helmet Gate while I get Slow-Mo in here.
Okay. I have a bit of a nuanced view here, and once we give our shut your mouth, good sir. Once we give our opinions, I will also put I'll put a what do you call it opinion poll in the chat and have folks vote on that as well. By the way, if you guys hear a lot of noise, it's because my home is a construction zone right now, so you'll see me.
Look at that, the man's renovating his house, probably with that Halo money.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, if I had that Halo money, there'd be construction in my house, and I'd be at a hotel. But that's neither here nor there. But okay, let's continue, shall we? So, my opinion on it is, and we haven't even talked about whether the show is good or it's bad or this and that and the other thing. Obviously, we're all Halo fans here. My opinion on it is, it's the Silver timeline. It's a different timeline. They use that to justify making changes to the canon. Approach it from where they're trying to bring it to you. Don't add all of your existing baggage of the movie does this, the show should do this because the games do that. None of that should matter because much like Star Wars and all these other various huge franchises, they have different canons. They go off the beaten path and they're allowed to explore. So me personally, can his helmet come off? Of course his helmet can come off. Should they have taken it off so soon? I mean, in my humble opinion, maybe you should have built up to it a little bit, but it's not a big deal that it came off. Do I have any issue at all with this helmet coming off? Not at all, except for one small piece of the puzzle. And my small piece of the puzzle, where I feel a little bit like a little let down, is Master Chief is the first. There have been many after him, right? You see Palmer and all these other guys just walking around with their helmets off like it's no big deal. But the Chief never did, because his was the most affecting process to get him to be the Spartan he is today, right? They've updated that process multiple times since his time, right? So it's always been kind of hinted at or spoken about that his mutations and his augmentations and what got him where he is was way more drastic than everyone else. As you have pointed out, Everborn, they have taken off his helmet on a few occasions, and when they did, he's a little white, he's a little bit weird. Like it's like his skin has never seen the sun. You know what I mean? Like they've hinted at that. They haven't given you the full, hey, we can see him, but it's hinted at that. I wish they had gone a bit more in that direction. You know, not like just a dude with a crew cut and a 5 o'clock shadow, which is what they did, right? I wish they had gone a bit more in the, hey, he's not a normal looking man, because he's had to, unlike the others who have all kind of been a bit more normalized, he's gone through it in order to be who he is. So his armor is him, right? That's always been the Master Chief, right? So I get why some people have a little bit of like, come on, guys.
I don't get it.
I don't think it's a big deal. I really don't think it's a big deal. I don't, because you're not in the main timeline. You're justifying it by separating it. You're giving the TV show room to breathe and go in different directions that maybe the main canon never wanted to or could go to or whatever. It's fine, right? He just needed to look a little bit more affected by the augmentation. He doesn't, but hey, it's not a big deal. I'm good with it. You know, I approach the show where it lives, and at that level, I think it's great. For those who aren't aware, I am a total. You spelled special wrong there, good sir. For those who aren't aware, I am a complete sci-fi stan. I watch even B-movie sci-fi stuff. So I come at each of these programs basically with no preconceived notions, no preconceived, hey, this is how it should be. This is how the canon should be. You know, I'm a big on what do you call it? Darn it, we were talking about this a few days ago. Now the name escapes me. Cylons and whatnot.
Oh no, Battlestar Galactica.
Battlestar Galactica. I'm big on Battlestar Galactica. They made many changes there. I'm big on The Expanse. You know, there's always nuances and changes there. So this fits in that frame for me. As far as budgetary, as far as how it strikes in the canon, as far as quality-wise, I still think it's a little too early to tell from a money-on-screen perspective, but that's how I feel. I don't think that Halo fans should be upset. If you were upset at all the other things that they did, you know, the show that they brought out with Power Man, you know, with Luke Cage, I forget his man's name, Michael Coulter. If you were upset with that show, this is leaps and bounds better, like leaps and bounds better. I thought that one was actually not even that bad. The quality was bad, right? Obviously, the money on screen aspect of it wasn't great, but the show itself was not bad. It was a ripoff of Pitch Black, but hey, neither here nor there. But it wasn't garbage like that. You know what I'm saying? So this is leaps and bounds ahead of that. And yes, I wear my Commander Keys, lookalike credentials proudly on my sleeve there, Victor.
Hey man, look, you should be going around getting autographs.
There he is.
Hey, what's going on?
There he is.
Right. How's my mic sound? I've never done a Skype call. Kinda,
you sound great.
Okay, great. I just wanted to make sure because like it was a little jarring trying to get because it was asking for video when it was pulling from my capture card because I still had Elden Ring running on PlayStation. So I was like, man, you're about to be looking at my gameplay.
so what you're saying is you had to jump into the past where Skype was a thing in order to be with us. Right.
Yeah, you know, no problem. You know, whatever works. You know, you know, look, I'm gonna come from a different angle, but it's not as like I don't see the hurt and like disdain for him taking his helmet off on my timeline as Everborn described it. Like
I did invite that though. I got to be fair. I did like
yes,
5
you did.
tweets about
you
it.
literally did like 36 hours of tweeting about Master Chief's
They shouldn't
helmet.
have kept responding, man.
I'm like, is this guy done yet? I'm like, what is happening? But no, look, like, I don't think it's that big a deal because one, it's a silver timeline. It's not even like
exactly.
Once they said that this was not even like the actual Halo universe, I'm not saying I wrote it off, but I just like I already know what this means. You're gonna make a lot of changes. You're gonna do a lot of things differently than what people who are familiar with Halo expect to see. You're gonna see some characters differently, and this is probably actually even before I saw the article, the Variety article that talked about how the reason why Halo didn't get done before now is because of my Xbox and 343's rigid view on canon. You can't do this, you can't do that, you can't change that. And so a lot of like Hollywood types backed out. This was the only reason why this is even here is because they actually relented here and there and allowed some things to happen. There's some other stuff that that people are believing that isn't quite true, and I blame Variety for headlining their article in a way that was not accurate. To kind of playing games, media, where they took a quote from the one of the producers where he said that they didn't look at the game, they didn't even talk about the game. What he was specifically talking about is when they went to go visit 343 in Seattle, and they said when they did that visit, they didn't look at the game, they didn't talk about the game, they just talked about the characters with the people of 343. Not that they never touched the game whatsoever. So, like, I think that the media gave this a little bit disservice there.
Yeah. Let's be honest here. If anybody really definitively thinks they did not look at the game at all, they're ridiculous. Because how would they get?
Well, I don't know, man. Like the Sangeli look like they on Alien Growth Hormone. Okay, why are they so big?
All right, here's one thing where I want to give you credit, Slow-Mo. The Sangheili, or however you pronounce it, I think it's Sangheili, right?
Yeah, it's Sangheili.
I understand narratively why they made them bigger, and I know that it's not like that in the game, but I can live with that. That's not a thing that bothers me. And I don't know if it was so much that they were too big versus the Spartans are not actually the 7 and 8 foot giants that they are in the lore, at least when you look at them standing next to people. And it's weird because perspective wise, sometimes they do look that tall and sometimes they don't. But I understand why they would do that. So I've always looked at the Sangheili as like, at least the size of a Spartan, right? And
they're a little bit they're a little bit taller than Spartans, but it's the thickness of these Halo TV shows like Sangheili that got me like. What? Like it's like when they blew up the gate, right? And they came through, I was like, here we go. And I was like, oh. So I was like, I wasn't quite expecting that. Like I wasn't quite expecting the way they looked. Now that said, like I thought their movement was good.
Yeah, okay. This is what I wanted to give you credit for. I know what you're about to say.
Yeah,
the Spartans were moving. This is your quote. I'm not stealing your quote. I'm just giving you.
They're
your
moving
props.
like 360 video games.
They not 360. They were moving like Power Rangers.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was very weird the way they were moving.
There's a specific scene. that shows that where they jump and they're trying to land somewhere, and it just looks very, like it looks like first pass CG that they haven't cleaned up yet.
Yeah, but I couldn't even tell if it was CG or if it was just they were on wires. Because, I will give them that. When I saw the trailer, I thought that inside the Spartan suit, all that was CG. But it's not. It's just the way it's color graded and how close it looks to the games. And they do deserve some credit for that. But
the suits look amazing. The actual
great job.
Individual Spartan suit looks awesome. It looks like cosplay on steroids. It looked great. It's just when they started
This
moving
whole show
and
looks
is
like
when I
cosplay
was
on
like,
steroids, and I don't know if that's a compliment.
it's like when they started moving is when I was like, I don't know. They did have a couple of scenes.
I just retweeted the what do you call it? The stunt doubles, their suits and how it looks. Y'all should check it out, man. Like, they really put money on screen with those suits. Wow, they did a great job. I can't wait to buy that for Halloween. I'm sorry. Continue. Go ahead.
Okay, let me find
hold on a minute. Is Pixel
Commander
in here?
Key's Twitter account.
Yeah,
Pixel is in here.
Oh,
Here we go.
Welcome, sir.
I am rejoined with the brothers plus slow-mo. What's going on, guys?
What's up,
What's
man?
going on?
Up,
All right, listen. I had to bring on Pixel in here because you was talking hot in the DM slow mo, and I needed backup from somebody who read all the books because I've only read all the games and watched any of the movies. So I needed somebody who knew the books because I knew you and Kay Asante was gonna try to gang up on me, so I had to go pop the trunk and bring out Pixel.
And I read the books as well.
Why would I gang up on
that?
you?
I wouldn't disagree with.
I wouldn't do such.
Slow sounds like he understands the context here, so I think we good.
There you go. We're all.
I understand the context. That's it. I still don't like the fact he took his helmet off and kept it off for the rest of the episode.
Okay, let me address that. He was in a ship, sir.
He was in combat.
He's not in combat in the ship. It's not like he took it out.
They were shooting at the ship. Everborn, they're shooting at the ship. So if like a bulkhead came down and popped him upside his head,
they wasn't piercing
the
armor of that ship.
He'd be like, man, I should have put my helmet back on.
I have a theory about why he didn't put it back on. I think he should have put it back on, right?
Mm-hmm.
But didn't they take the oxygen out of his helmet?
No.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
No. They changed the oxygen mix in the entire ship, which has also knocked out the civilians.
They changed the oxygen mix, and then they did something to his armor.
Pixel's right. They changed the oxygen level of the ship, which almost killed the girl, but then they dropped his oxygen level in his suit to 40%, which was done specifically just to knock him out. And then the lead.
But he woke up and kept his helmet on, and then took it off once the girl was like pointing a completely ineffective weapon at him. I'm going to shoot you. He even told her, "Go ahead. You shooting at me is like you shooting a pellet gun at me. But let me go take my helmet off so like I can prove to you we're cool."
Let's table this specific part of him keeping it off or putting it on. I think we should table this till the next episode. Because if he spends most of the next episode helmet off,
Agreed. Yeah.
I want to, before we get to next week and before we get to the rest of the series, if he is not in combat, I want to be clear. There's no reason for the helmet to be on. And
the reason why I would say it should remain on is that in essence of his character. And he keeps it on unless it needs to come off. So it's just like it's not that like he's never taken it off because that's not true, right?
From a canon perspective, and specifically what he even mentions in the show, most of his command controls are in that helmet. He needs it. He specifically says that at the beginning of this episode. Right? So at some point, if he wants to do some kind of Master Chiefy things, he will need the helmet on. So that the UI HUD can be visible.
And once he gets Cortana, and he puts Cortana in the back of the helmet, he's going to need to have the helmet on to speak.
Exactly.
Right. So again, at that point, it would make sense for him to not take the helmet off, even outside of the combat situation.
That's the reason why I'm saying we should table the specific of keeping the helmet off until we see more episodes, because I think the situation should warrant whether it's on or off. My only concern is the way they have him looking when his helmet is off, unlike any other time where, Michael Coulter, they showed him with a helmet off for a little while, even though it was CG, right? They've shown many. They've shown Palmer, bunch of people.
But those are the newer Spartans, though, so they just take their stuff off.
Exactly.
They were raised different. They were trained different.
That's right. That is my point.
Right? Yeah.
That is my point. They've shown. What do you call it? Oh my God! Now y'all made me forget his name. Nathan Fillion. They've shown Nathan Fillion. Buck with the helmet off, the whole nine. This guy's supposed to be different. He's not supposed to be just able to do that like the other.
And it's not
just
hold on.
Because even when they showed Blue Team and Halo Guardians, like they all kept their helmets on. It's a part of like who they are, you know. But it's also, but again, it's not. I can't, I'm drinking, water through a tube in the side of my helmet or some crap. Like they take their helmets off. Yeah.
But again, what I said counteracts what I'm saying in general, which is this is a different timeline. They can do whatever the hell they want, and we should not bring game lore against it because
doesn't mean it's good.
Doesn't mean it's good though.
And also, if it changes the essence of certain things, like the whole motivation of the Covenant. We can get to that later with like the white the
Cylon,
white takeover, the cultural appropriation of the Covenant by white women. We can
take it over. We can talk alien cultures. Okay, so we can talk about that for a second because I think that before I get into my apologizing, right? My Halo, I'm the resident Halo apologist, right?
Okay, let's go.
I did it for Forge and Co-op. I'll do it for the show. I'll take that. I'll wear that. I'm speaking for the people that.
Hey, at least he knows what he is. Go ahead. Continue.
No, so I think I don't know who the chick is yet. I'm gonna go on record and say I'm going to assume that she's not actually human, and she might be, like Kay Asante said, a Cylon. She's like an android. She's a failed Halsey experiment.
Well, okay, this is not an android. In my
she's like a clone or something.
Yeah, in my theorizing, in Battlestar Galactica, they were androids because they came from androids. So they remade themselves in the human image. Yeah. In this instance, I am saying the Covenant has remade a human in their own image. So it's human splicing, DNA splicing. She is partly Covenant, whichever species that created her. She looks human, but she's not human.
But why does the prophet defer to her? Like he actually
but it's like you talking to your daughter and you're not deferring to her. You want to know that she knows what you taught her.
You're acknowledging her.
Yeah, it does.
There's a certain part where he's even like trying to like appeal to her. Could you please teach me what you see? He's trying.
Well, remember, they from what they're saying, they basically created her to bridge the gap because they can't speak human, they can't read human, but she can. So he says, maybe one day you'll teach me what you're learning so that I can know the enemy as well.
Yeah. But like, if you're not deferring to this person, the tone would have been different. Because he very much is like he's asking. He's not telling.
She's not a subordinate. She's kind of like that little princess.
Which doesn't make sense to me. And people can back me up on this. The Covenant hate humans. Like they because of who the humans are. We now have the mantle. So to get into some lore, it's just that they're supposed to be dealing with the lore that the original, the oldest alien race we can think that within this context is the precursors, and the precursors chose the humans to take over the mantle of responsibility. The Forerunners didn't like that, so like a lot of stuff happened there. Now the Covenant is ran by the Shanshun, who already know that about humanity, and that's and in even the presence of humans and what we represent within the universe upsets the balance with the Shanshun and the rest of the Covenant alien races. So they even have a human that you deferring to is counter productive to what actually should be what the Covenant's about.
I agree with you.
I'm going to reserve judgment on this one until I see what she is, because I still think, and I could be wrong, like you could be right, but because we've only seen one episode so far, and I know Kay Asante has seen more because he's been in more of the episodes, right, as Commander Keyes, right? But I still think she's a failed Halsey experiment that they are using as not like a pet to infiltrate the humans or attack the humans. So
yeah, I agree with you on that.
I agree. She seemed like a pet to you, though.
I agree with you that she is a tool to be used against the humans, but I don't think she has anything to do with Halsey. I think she's created by the Covenant for the purpose of infiltration.
Also, I think it's important for us to see if the rest of the Covenant actually respect her, or they look at her like it's blasphemous that she's there, and it's just that guy. True. That is,
because we only see the prophet talk to her. We don't see anyone talk to her.
If we've seen any of the other trailers, they basically treat her like she's the commander, she's the queen. Like she commands, and they run around and they do.
So wait,
that's a problem. Go ahead.
Isn't it in the preview to it? Isn't there a scene where she sprouts tentacles?
No, that's not tentacles. See, people don't see that. Let me tell you what that like. I guess I'm the lore master here. I am the lore master here.
Explain to me what it is that she wraps.
I'll tell you what that is.
What is that?
Do you know the hunters? The hunters are a bunch of snails that come together.
I know that.
You know what they are, right?
The Lagula. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, that scene you saw was them not in hunter form, but spreading across by her command.
So she's commanding the hunters.
Commanding hunters.
See, like
that's an interesting one. Okay, that makes sense. But
and that's what makes me think that we should all reserve judgment, because they're spinning a different tale here, right? Yeah. We know some of this stuff, but some of this stuff is taken on a different path that we, even lore masters or people who purport to love the lore, they're going a little left with this. And I'm okay with that.
This is a little bit more than just it's a different multiverse. Now it's like
they're making different decisions.
What if? It's about this could be Marvel Studios' what if, because
think about it this way. Like in the books, and for those who've read the books, there are certain instances where they speak very slightly, they hint very much a little bit every time they start talking about the origins of the Spartans and all that. They hint a little bit at how the UNSC treats people, how the UNSC is as an organization.
It's very political.
But it's political, but they always do it as a backdrop, while the main focus is, we're busy fighting aliens. Trust us. What do you call it? Patriotism.
Just 1 second.
Go ahead.
But they get a little deeper into that in the Thursday War.
And I know you guys all remember this because we all listened to this before Halo 5 came out. Hunt for Truth. I think Hunt for Truth is exactly where you see what the UNSC really is and what.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, but have you noticed
First of all, that would have been a show.
No, but have you
that
noticed
would have been amazing.
Every time
the production on the Hunt for Truth was amazing.
Truth, yeah.
But
every time they follow, time they follow game canon, they always tread in that direction. In the UNSC's bad, UNSC's totalitarian. Even though in the game, since there's a lot of agency, you as the chief, they're too busy, getting you to shoot aliens to then talk about the fact that who you're working for is evil.
Hold on. Let me make a comment about that. Please. So they touch on that in Halo 5.
Yes.
Right? When you visit the human planets that they're trying to save, their response to the Master Chief being on the planet is part of that relationship that they have with the UNSC. So that is touched on. But another note, I think we don't. I wouldn't write off the idea that girl is a clone for two reasons. One, they're mentioning when they're talking about Cortana in this series. Right now, they're talking about a clone, right? Mm-hmm. The Admiral states that there's no Cortana, no cloning project, right?
Yep.
We know in the base lore, the UNSC was doing illegal cloning of children.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm saying they're following,
and they'd last like a week and then they decay.
Right, and then they decay. Right,
this is exactly what they did with the children that became the Spartan 2s. They replaced them with clones, which is like I was bringing up the Thursday War book, because the Thursday War book showed kind of like how some of those parents never believed that the clones were really their kids, and when they died, it was just kind of further solidifying to them that something
somebody
was not right
and did something.
Yeah, and they created like rebel cells that the only organization tried to deal with. Go ahead.
Right. and that's touched on in Trust the Truth as well, right? They're talking about the cloning project, but also note the UNSC or more so Oni and Halsey used kidnapped children from the Outer Rim.
Yes.
Right? So we should talk about that relationship, like why the Outer Rim people are responding to the UNSC the way they do, right? Because there is
jacked up.
the relationship.
If you think about it, the Covenant they didn't even know who the Covenant was at that time. So you intentionally kidnapped our children to train, genetically engineer, and then have them kill us.
Oh no! Hold on.
Have them kill us. That's right.
Exactly right. The Spartan 2s were designed to kill insurrectionists. So that is what they're talking about in the beginning of the show, right? That's right. It's talking about they're super soldiers, right? Their only job is to kill insurrectionists. And
there are differences, though. I should point out. Although I agree with you, there are slight differences in narrative right now because we keep harping on Hunt the Truth, which I thought was one of the greater podcasts. But with Infinite, they released Memory Agent. Did you listen to Memory Agent?
Yes, I did.
Memory Agent is really good, but Memory Agent is all about the rah. Hey, anybody that experienced
the propaganda
about Master, that's right. It's full propaganda. If anybody that experiences Master Chief, all they have are just, oh my God, he helped us so much. He inspired the people, this and that. If you look at this show in juxtaposed to Memory Agent, it's the complete opposite. Because what does Kwan say? She's like, all I do is hear about you everywhere, but you're the one who killed my mom. You know what I'm saying? They are, instead of continuing down that same path of, they're good, but they have a little bad of shadiness here. They're good, but they have a little shadiness there, which they've been doing all this time. They're going all the way in on, you're an evil killer that UNSC uses against us.
They're not really changing that part of it because the propaganda that we hear is written from the UNSC perspective. She's talking from an Outer Rim perspective.
From the Rebels' perspective.
From the Rebels' perspective. So you read
which both sides aren't really the truth. It's more of what one side feels about events that happen, and it's colored by a lot of emotion, but also
are you guys saying
100% facts and information, of course.
So are you guys saying we've played and everything we've read and all of that, anytime that it's from the UNSC's perspective, it's kind of fake?
Yes. What are you talking about?
Well, no,
hold on a minute.
And that Master Chief as a character is not the altruistic.
No.
Rah patriot.
There's a difference. Let me.
No. Because the chief is just doing his job. He's not.
I want to answer that.
He's a genuine person. No, I'm done. I just wanted to say, like, it's not like the chief isn't. It's not like there is information being missing here. It's not like the books are edited to just have the UNSC view of the
master. Exactly. I guess my point is, my question, my ultimate point, and I guess Everborn, you can answer that. Are we saying that everything we've seen so far has been coming from a non-reliable narrator because it's all from the UNSC's perspective?
No, I'll say no because we're seeing it from the Master Chief's perspective. And whenever the Master Chief has not agreed with orders from the UNSC, he does his own thing and then ends up proving himself right and them wrong. So, and they talk about this a little bit on the show where he says, what is visible to me on the ground is not always as clear as what can be seen at headquarters. And she said to him, why can't that be true in the other way around? Meaning what you see on the ground might be more clear than what they can see at headquarters. And I think that, that's how I've always known just through playing all of these games, Master Chief to operate. Whereas I know what you're telling me, but situations on the ground is different. I'm going to do what I think is right, even if you guys can't get your head out of your asses. Now, that being said, I think it is worth noting that Halo, the lore, a lot of the lore and a lot of the allegory of Halo is really a meditation on post 9/11 military industrial complex, right? And I think the Spartans and I think the UNSC obviously is a stand-in for the U.S. military. I think the Sangheili are stand-ins for all of the places that we go around the world to go to war. So a lot of these Middle Eastern countries, and a lot of it is sort of based on that. So when you see that mistrust of the UNSC or people getting in their feelings about the UNSC, I'm talking about fans being in their feelings about the UNSC not being all good, it's because they see the symbolism between the United States and they're making that connection, and they're saying, well, you're talking about the United States. So that was always a thing with Halo.
Let me pull this back a little bit. Just a real
real quick. What's the symbolism on this white woman leading the covenant?
We'll get there.
Does she count as white if she's not real?
I'm not gonna let
I think she's a robot.
She's white, blue-eyed, and blonde. What are they saying here? What are they saying?
Let's pull back a little bit. Let's pull back before we get all the way there. So first and foremost, thank you guys for continuing to watch. Hit the like button if you haven't. Think about subscribing if you have not done so yet.
Wait,
real
Gabe
quick,
asked a great question.
That's where I'm going. I'm going to Gabe O. But real quick, before we get there, Master Chief helmet, where do you fall? We have 44% say it's no big deal. We have 17% saying this is a Travis Shamocracy. And of course, we have 39% saying Keyes is the best character. Please continue to vote, and we'll give you the result at the end of this.
Which Keyes? Is it the cute Keyes or is it KSI?
Shut your mouth. Captain Keyes. Let's continue. All right. Gabe O points out a great question, and I think that allows us to pull the thread back a little bit, and let's fundamentally talk about whether we like this show or not. He's asking, do we think this was the right actor to play Master Chief? So I guess we can start going around the horn. In general, do you like episode 1? Do you think their choice for the main character was well chosen? Do you have any critique of the just the base of the show and what they've shown you so far?
Let me take this one first. So I actually was not a huge fan of the first 15 minutes of the show. I actually thought it was too many winks and nods to the video games, and I think that the lore of Halo is so vast that you don't need to just open up with all of these. Hey, look, we're doing a first-person view. Hey, here's the battle rifle. Here's the assault rifle. Here's the plasma sword. Mm-hmm. Hey, look at this. Look at that. We're gonna move like Power Rangers. Yay! You're watching a Halo show, and to me, it was like you're laying it on a little bit too thick, right? But once I got out of my own feelings and said, okay, as a sci-fi outing, I think it's halfway decent, right? That's the best I can give it for episode 1. But that being said, I think if this weren't Halo and it was some other thing, I think as a pilot episode, it was just as good as The Witcher's pilot episode, which The Witcher got a lot better as it went on. But I wasn't like huge.
What?
I wasn't huge on the first episode of The Witcher. Sorry.
What the is this?
Anyway.
Well, but as a guy who watches sci-fi, I completely agree with you. Like generic sci-fi.
Yep.
This is not a cut above anything else, but it also isn't trash either. We'll have to see whether it goes one way or another. But that first episode, if you knew nothing about Halo, it's like, it's a Starship Troopers kind of show where they're
now. If they lean into Starship Troopers, that would be great. Like
that would not. Be
No. Have you read the Starship Troopers books?
Starship Troopers
is enjoyable in that it's bad.
No.
It's like it's bad.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, but Starship Troopers means a lot more when you read the books. The books are actually pretty substantial, and they mean something. They just turned it into a satire comedy for the show,
right? Not the show, the movie.
Okay, all right. I've never read the book, so I appreciate that.
So there's that part of it. As to the Pablo Schreiber as Master Chief, not who I would have chosen. But
who would you have chosen?
I got to think about that.
That's when we get to me. I'll explain how I kind of feel about it. I didn't quite care for him as Master Chief, but I can't think of anyone else. So I'm not gonna be like it shouldn't have been him, and I got no suggestion of who could have been better.
Yeah,
right?
I think that's where I stand with it. But I where I'm at is just like I'll allow it, because the thing is in the games, I look at Chief as an older guy. I look at Chief as he's probably,
well, he's got a 70-year-old voice. That's neither here nor there.
That too. But I'm saying, like, he has just seen it all, right? And this Chief feels like a Chief that's earlier in his career, right? So
but not quite young enough, right? So yeah, he's earlier in his career, but he doesn't look quite young enough, right?
No, not necessarily that, because I don't think he's like straight out a boot camp, right? Like, I think he
looks like he's in his 30s.
Yeah,
is what
like he's seen some things, but not the level of things that our Chief in the games have seen. So to me, if this is a less weathered Master Chief, if this is a less weathered John, I can deal with it, because then he can grow to be the Chief that we know later on. Because, and this is the very important thing about like the show and how we view it and rate it. I just have to, like you said, look at it as this is a sci-fi show. How do I judge it on that? Because we know the lore. Some of us know more than others. Some of us only watch the movies or the cartoons and whatever the things that they've done. Some of us only play the games. Some of us read all the books and the comics and things like that. But in any, and this is very important, in any adaptation, you have to give the people doing the adapting, you have to give them room to at least have some creative say in the story. They have to add their stamp to it. And so as long as they're not disrespecting the essence of the characters, you gotta let them tell the story in the way that they're gonna tell it. And you have to allow for some differences.
Completely agree. I have two things for you.
And canon.
Two things for you. Thing number one, you are the dude who turned left and never turned your blinker off. Get rid of that Gabo comment. Thing number two, people keep talking about the whole Mandalorian comparison to it, but Pedro Pascal did thread the needle that Pablo is not. He wasn't even allowed to try, because Pedro, although we saw his face, he got us to believe that he could have done that whole show.
I need to speak on that. I need to speak on that, Mr. K. Asante.
But you understand,
I understand what you're saying,
people,
but I think it's.
the Mandalorian, they took off his helmet. Yeah, after like almost the very last of the season, and before then, he convinced you that he was a completely great actor with his emotions and everything while the mask was on. They never gave Pablo the opportunity to give you that gravitas with mask on.
Okay, so let me speak to that. Right,
very true.
Firstly, I think that the Mandalorian, the Mandalorian has something going for it that Halo doesn't, which is an adorable animatronic puppet, right? Sure. And that helps with some of the.
You do realize they're trying, though, right? You do realize they're trying to retread the Mandalorian ground, even though it may not be on purpose.
That's like saying I disagree. That's like saying Tunic is trying to retread what Death Doors do.
Stop you were going to go right.
Stop your bull crap.
But still, to the end user, right? To the end user, what happened? Oh, at the end of show B, which is comparing to show A, there's a protagonist who's leaving with a young ward, and they're on the run. Mandalorian, anyone?
Guess what? You're smarter than that, right? The thing is this. There is a narrative purpose for Mando to leave his mask on. There is no narrative purpose for the Chief to...
There is. He said it himself. All of his command functions for his entire Mjolnir armor and his suit in his Spartanness is accessed
he's in a ship, right? If he's walking out and he needs something from the helmet, obviously he puts it on. But he didn't need it in that moment.
Yeah, I don't think it. I mean, that doesn't fly at that moment, right? So my thing with this is, as an actor, I don't mind. I think Anybody can play the Chief. If you're tall enough, you have the right, the right kind of look per se, right? I don't care, right? It's more about when he puts the helmet on, does he seem like Master Chief, right?
See, that's where I disagree with you, Pixel. After watching Pedro Pascal's performance of the Mandalorian, not everyone can play the suit. It can play a guy in the suit.
A lot of the times, Pedro Pascal wasn't in that suit, but go ahead. Well, he said it.
Here's the thing. Up until the point, so Everborn said he didn't like the first 15 minutes. I loved it. That first 15 minutes was a get right. Like, okay, right? This is Halo, right? I watched it with my wife, right? She's not a Halo fan like that. Mm-hmm. She saw it. She was enjoying it. She's like, oh, I know some of this from the game or whatever, right? But she kind of got it, right? And it spoke to her as just an action show, right? Which is what this needs to be. Like, you remove the Halo part of it and say, does this come off as a good action show, right? In terms of his mannerisms in the suit, there are a couple of times where he kind of makes a move or a look that you in the suit early on where, okay, I've seen Chief do that, right? Like we've seen that kind of behavior in the cutscenes, right? Even like when
Pixel, they never looked at the games. Pixel, how could we have seen that?
No. I'm talking about us.
Stop it. No, he's being facetious. You and I both know that in the damn games.
Oh, right. Okay, I'm sorry. Yes. So they're clearly trying to channel some of that, right? But I think, as a story, it doesn't make sense to keep Chief with helmet on all the time, unless that's a thing for every Spartan forever for the series, and he's always going to be in combat in the show, which clearly I don't think he is. I don't think he's going to always be in combat, so it doesn't make sense for him to be walking around like a robot with a helmet on, right? But it's kind of, I guess, why he makes the joke about what do you eat, right? Nuts and bolts, right? Because we are always treating him like, it's just a suit of armor. But in a story like this, and we'll see where it goes. I think they kind of want to let's just get past the Chief with the helmet thing, right? To not build the Mandalorian kind of style.
That's the problem I have with this show a little bit right now. And forgive the noise in the background if you hear it. That's the problem I have with the show right now. It seems like that get the helmet off was more the meta narrative rather than the narrative that was actually in the show.
I agree with that. Thank you.
To forward the story along in the show, it was yada yada yada. Let's get our viewers used to the fact that this dude looks like a day trader who's wearing Mjolnir armor. Like,
or it was a marketing ploy where they wanted it to be a point of topic for the show from the very start. That here you're going to see the Master Chief full face, helmet off. His entire face, something that you haven't seen before from the adult Master Chief. Yeah, that's going to be in this show. Like, it was a marketing thing instead of an actual. This is good for the episode.
But it wasn't the episodes. The episode's viability doesn't seem to be the forethought for that purpose.
But is it possible, right, that we are putting too much emphasis on the helmet, and it so what if it comes off? Because I feel like
let's do this Mandalorian comparison correctly though. We did the same kind of thing for the Mandalorian,
this is not the Mandalorian,
because that helmet matters.
Making those connections, it's not that.
Yeah, it's a lesser show.
Yeah, but here's the thing, right? This is us looking at it.
We don't know if it's a lesser show. It's only one episode, but continue.
So far,
this is us looking at it from a perspective of people who have played Halo games, read some books, right?
Yep.
Maybe not seen all the other cartoons where he has his helmet off.
Oh, I've seen all of them.
Right?
I've seen them all.
I'm just saying. I'm making a general statement here, right?
Yeah.
Compared to the average user, who I'm sure they're trying to get into it, right? Like my wife, who doesn't care about any of that. So her reaction to him taking off his helmet
was no big deal, probably.
No big deal. Yeah. We sound like a bunch of fools. Oh my God, his helmet is off.
Thank you.
It didn't matter to her because she's not a Halo stan. Right?
But can I add something else?
But you know that that's a needle that needs to be threaded, though, right? Because this is a franchise that has both canon lovers and non-canon lovers.
Hold on, let me add to that. Okay. Let me add to that, Pixel. If in every other adaptation outside of the games, Chief can take his helmet off, why is this show different? This is not a game.
That's not the argument, Everborn, and I don't know why people keep phrasing it that way. It's like it's intentionally disingenuous. It's not that he takes his helmet off, because everyone knows he takes his helmet off. It's the fact that they showed his full face, which is not as
why is it a secret? His face is not a secret.
They have not. They have not shown to us, the viewer or the gamer or the person on the receiving end of the media, his full face as a full-grown adult since Halo Combat Evolved. They have not done that.
I disagree a little bit with Slow-Mo on this. I disagree a little bit. I agree with you that you're right, Slow-Mo, that they have not done that. But I personally don't think that's the issue. For me, the issue is when they did show his face, what did he look like? He looks like a day trader. He doesn't look like a mutilated.
To me, those are bigger.
That's the problem.
Because look at.
You said he doesn't look like a soldier. He looks like a white collar criminal or something.
He doesn't look like a mutant.
He does. Yeah, he doesn't look like a mutant. He looks like a normal everyday.
Everyday guy.
He could take off the Mjolnir armor, put on some board shorts, and be chilling at the beach, and nobody would say anything.
You know what?
That should not be what Master Chief looks like.
Now, look, I will say that I don't care about the fact that his helmet is off and everything, and it's showing his full face, because this is the Silver Timeline. This is a different multiverse. This isn't canon to Halo, so I don't care at all what they do with the show, honestly, because to me it's all fan fiction. So that's just what it is. Now, if it was canon and they did that, I think that's a whole different discussion that we'd be having.
Let me ask you a question, Slow-Mo and Pixel and K-Asante. Is John's face a secret inside of canon?
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Red hair, blue eyes,
freckles.
Right. We know what he looks like. So we've known that for a decade.
So again.
And yet still have they shown his full face as the Chief. As the Chief since Halo Combat Evolved, as in like timeline chronologically since that time period. No.
I mean, you saw his eyes. They were shadowed out, but you saw his eyes at the end of Halo 4.
You didn't really see his eyes.
You can see like these superheroes part of their face. And I mean, you seen their whole face. You see whole Batman's whole jawline and butt chin. And doesn't mean that everyone knows he's Bruce Wayne.
I don't see a reason in a narrative outing to say that we are going to play
beat the game on Legendary in order to even see that.
Again.
I would have been more impressed if he was black.
Gabo, real quick, Gabo, the how his face should look like. Those are they are our opinions, but they're based on facts, based off of the descriptions that they've been given in the various novels. As well as sometimes if you play like the highest difficulty and get the final endings of Halo, you get to see certain pieces. I think Halo 4, they actually
Halo 4.
It's off his helmet.
Halo 4,
and you saw like bone structure basically. You didn't really see his face.
You see everything up to about his nose, right? I mean,
about his nose. And even in that instance, he seems a little bit mutilated. He seems a little bit modified, right? And
he ain't seen sun in a few years now.
That's right.
Pale, almost like a corpse.
That part is the only part that I wish. And to me, the big deal level on a scale of 1 to 10, that's a 3 or 4.
So
that's the only thing that I care.
Here's the thing: looking at this as a sci-fi television series, I think if you're telling a story. This is not a sequel to a video game. You're telling a story.
True. Yeah.
Playing coy with what his face looks like is a gimmick. And it tells me you don't really have a story to tell. You're just hinging it on, oh, we're hiding his face. Are we going to show it? Oh, maybe not now. Nope. Not this time. Oh, wait, no. Let's save it for the season finale. You're not really focused on the story at that point. And
so was the Mandalorian not focused on the story when they did that?
But
yes,
they
were
there's
focused
lore,
on the story
there are
because
reasons in the
he's not
Mandalorian
supposed to
for him
take
to
off
have
his
the
mask
helmet.
in the Mandalorian.
Well, but then I'll push back and say there are also reasons for Master Chief to have his helmet as well. Even within the story, he says that he needs that. It's not just something that he wears. He needs
to
to
communicate
took it
with
off,
his team,
and he
and
had
to
it
fight.
off for 10 minutes.
Exactly. That's the reason why we can't judge this until the next episode.
10 minutes.
I said this at the beginning of this conversation.
Everborn, in episode 2, if out of 58 minutes his helmet is off for 45, I'm gonna blow up your DM.
Listen,
this man is screaming and like checking his hair and giving you the actor look. You know, for the majority of the episode, I am going to be on you, sir.
Okay. We can move on with all of this. I will. The hill that I'm dying on with my issues with Halo. The only thing is, when he takes off the Mjolnir armor, he shouldn't be able to put on board shorts and go chill at the beach and nobody says anything. He should look weird.
He should not look like a regular human being.
No, that's all I care about.
I
can take his mask off day one. You can take his mask off 5 minutes after the show starts. None of that matters to me. But when you do take his mask off, because this is not Halo, this is Halo, and although they're not sharing it with the general public yet, because all that canon is for us to know, and this is a different timeline, we still know this is a guy who's the first of his kind, who was modified in order to become what he has become. And since he's become what he's become, well, he's not the first, but he's the first. Yeah, the first real successful one, right? Since he's become what he's become, multiples have come after him, and that process has been refined. So they can be board shorts wearing, chilling at a beach, dudes.
Even then, the Spartan 4s are bigger than what they were. Like, you look at Buck and ODST. He's a bigger dude as a Spartan.
Augmented, they're just not as big as Spartan 2.
Right. And the process has gotten better. Like, even with the Spartan 3s, I would say the process took a step back, because even though it had a higher success rate, the Spartan 3s couldn't feel pain. And so it changed them mentally and how they handled combat.
Turned them actually into robots, basically.
Right, yeah, because they became a lot more reckless.
I think,
go ahead.
I think it's important, though. We're already off that track, and obviously we've said it a million times. This is the Silver timeline. Chief is supposed to need...
Reach is there. You can see it. That tells you from jump that we're in a different timeline.
But also, Chief, his helmet is supposed to need a machine to take off in the Mark II's suits or whatever, right?
His armor, but not the helmet.
No, he did. Even in that ending, you see the things go behind, they screw it, and unscrew, and the things come out. I don't think he can just take it off like that. So we are in a different... this is those old rules don't apply as they do. Okay. But I don't think that's a problem, right? They got to tell a story. And number one job, you have to accentuate the medium that you're in. And I don't believe, because listen, we know the story, right? We don't want just somebody to just tell us back exactly what we know, so that we feel powerful because we knew it before everybody else. They have to be true to the characters and tell a good story.
Hold on. What's wrong with that? Sometimes, let me give you an example.
Oh boy,
Game of Thrones.
The minute they diverged,
that's when they had a problem. Some changes, right? Because some changes need to be made. If you read the books, like, man, you can't depict some of that on television. You just can't, right? It's a little gruesome. But when they were stuck to the script, they did. But when they stuck to the script, it was considered by a lot of people to be one of the best TV shows ever created.
Until they diverged from the script, and then they went on.
When there was no more script,
they ran out of
script, and they had to write their own way. Bombed completely.
And you know what? Since you spoke about what they got away with, let's double back to Halo a bit and talk a little bit about the gore of this show.
Okay, before we talk about the gore, did it bother anybody else that this felt like super shiny until that gore came around. Like, I didn't really like the makeup. It reminded me of the Wheel of Time.
It was gore like minutes.
No, I know,
show.
but I'm just saying,
give you a chance to breathe.
Everything felt too shiny in the beginning. I don't know.
I disagree completely. I don't know how you watched it, but they look dirty to me. They
look dirty and grimy. Yeah,
they look like ain't none of them seen a shower that year.
Maybe it's the colors, the color correction that they did, or something. But it really felt like they were on a set. I didn't feel like they were like, you watch Dune and you feel like they're really
here we go.
No. Say that again. I couldn't hear you.
I said when you watch Dune, you feel like they're really there. You watch Game of Thrones, you feel like they're really there.
Oh God! See, you just walked right into that trap, didn't you?
No. I can call a spade a spade. It's fine.
Was that a compliment for Dune? That's why I asked him to repeat it, because
the production designer deserves a lot of credit. Yes.
Everybody
everybody
involved in that future film of the year deserves a lot of credit. Continue, sir. Continue.
So anyway, the world didn't feel
called the 1.5 callback, but continue. Go ahead.
It didn't feel as lived in as I would like, right? Mm-hmm. Like, for example, even Halsey's office, it's just like this big empty room. And at one point, they had 2 people in the background, but it was very weird, and it felt like they were just on a green screen set, and I know they were, but their job is to not feel that way, right? And so even like when the kids went in the shelter, that door felt like it was like 2 inches thick, and it didn't even really close because you could see through the door while it was open, and I don't know what that was supposed to hold.
Actually, that didn't bother me as much as when Halsey goes in the room for Katana, the door is kind of wobbling. It's kind of wobbling.
This is what I'm saying. Like, some of the props and things felt cheap. And don't get me started when he dropped
that $10 million went into CG special effects, but the set, $10.
But here's the problem set, now. Man. Even some of the CG. Remember when he dropped the assault rifle on the floor
and the plastic?
Yeah.
Well, hold on. What about when she used the plasma gun, and when she shot it, it was fine, but the second after that shot is wood.
Yeah, it's so, a lot of it. That's why I said.
Hey, look. There's a scene in Game of Thrones where there's a Starbucks.
I remember.
Yeah, in the seasons that shall not be named.
But like ultimately, I think like the production value at times looks really high, and then at other times looks really cheap. It was jarring.
They haven't balanced that out yet. The money's on the screen, but sometimes you're just like, something. Back to our talking about how it looked like. The superhero landing of Spartan was good, but when they jumped and you're just like, they kind of maybe spent a little too much money on the suits and they didn't have enough money for post-processing on the jump there.
And just, again, sometimes the way they walked, where they were trying to look like robots, it was just super weird. And now another thing is, when you watch The Expanse, the world feels lived in. There's people in the background that are doing their own thing that have nothing to do with the plot. It's just you're in a scene and it feels like you're there. I didn't get a lot of that here.
To be fair, have you seen the beginning season of The Expanse? I think you watched it a little later. Did you watch the pilot? Because it was a little sparse there too at that time. They got more. The budget got bigger as the story was more accepted. A lot of people started watching it, and it became higher and higher. Amazon took over and threw money at it. In the beginning, it was a little bit sparse, just like this.
Okay. But that's a pilot episode. I think a pilot episode of The Expanse is different than the pilot episode of Halo, because the pilot episode of Expanse, you're pitching this to a network to get to potentially be able to have a bigger budget.
Yeah, this is already a known commodity.
So this is already fully funded, and you already know what you're getting from this. And so I would expect, like from The Expanse or from other TV shows where the budget's much smaller, but then as you see as the first season goes on, you see a lot more extras in there. You see a little bit better sets and stuff like that, better lighting, better directing. But then with this, like, I think that what we saw from this first episode, as far as terms of quality and some of the jankiness of like the Spartan movement and stuff like that, I will probably expect to see that throughout the entire first season. You probably won't see any changes or improvements from that until they do season 2.
Well, okay, to that end, maybe not, right? Because if you notice, what we've seen in the trailers are basically all from like the first episode and maybe what we're going to see next week. A lot of the trailer was in the first episode. So I wonder if we even know how big or how much better or worse, because that's what happened with that Apple show. What was that sci-fi?
Which I disagree with you on. The Foundation.
The Foundation. It got worse every episode.
I disagree with you. You haven't seen
from the beginning.
You have not seen all of them, so you can't say that.
I'm missing like 2 episodes. It's terrible.
So it's not Dune, huh? It's not Dune. Okay.
You haven't seen that.
So you guys try to tell me, Dune was just the Foundation, apparently not.
Here we go again.
Dune apologist slow-mo. Don't come at me for apologizing for Halo, because anytime something wrong with Dune,
I don't need to apologize for Dune. It's amazing. The majority of people who watched it knew it's amazing.
I hear what you're saying. Okay, so no, but like, I think, just to wrap this up, because I do want to get into the Batman talk.
Oh yeah,
I give the pilot episode a 7.5, but a strong 7.5. And I know we live in a society where it's like you're either a 10 or
if it's not an
1,
8, you suck.
Right. It's either the greatest thing or the worst thing in the world. 7.5 is not a bad score. And I think it's a great foundation for them to build off of. And I think the episode got better and better as we went on. I think they did a good job with building tension.
I will give it one bit of criticism, though, to your point. I will give it one bit of criticism. I think they should have dropped at least 2, if not 3 episodes from jump, so that whole idea of the pilot cruft gets cleaned up. Because supposedly it gets better as you go along, and the journalists who've gotten a chance to see at least the first 3 paint a different picture of what we got.
So all the reviews I've seen have only gotten to see the first 2. Have people seen the 3rd episode?
Didn't I see? Am I wrong, or did Devendra Hardwar see 3?
I don't know. I've watched Campia and Grace Randolph talk about it.
Okay, I haven't seen them. I just heard Devendra Hardwar from Engadget talk about the first 3 episodes, and he liked it. But he also said from jump that I can see some Halo stands having problems. So
but I definitely think it's good enough. And if it wasn't Halo, I would watch it.
Yes,
I'd be interested to watch it as just a sci-fi show. And I think if they play their cards right, there's a lot of ways they could get better. And I think that what they've set up has put them in a good place to do good things. Now they can snatch defeat from the jaws of victory, as Microsoft has done a lot. But this is not Microsoft. This is Showtime and Paramount. So we'll see what they do. But I'm optimistic about the future, and I think it's a good enough start. Solid.
Here. I completely agree.
What do you guys think?
And
Pixel.
Those who are in their fields need to calm down. It's not that bad. Watch the show. It's fun.
Before I give my score, I would say this: do not watch it on the Paramount Plus app. The Paramount Plus app is absolute garbage. Instead, I would suggest people subscribe to Paramount Plus through Prime Video. That's why I've had Paramount Plus for a while now, and mostly because my wife watches some stuff in it. But
I got it to watch Quiet Place too.
Yeah, I think that originally that's what we got it for, and then we kind of kept it because my wife started looking at some other stuff.
I kept it because I forgot.
I got a deal, $3 for 3 months.
I was like, sign up for a week I was on the 1-year joint. And then it was and then I forgot to cancel it at the end of the week.
It was too late.
And it was too late. Now I got it for a year.
They're like, gotcha.
I guess for those, for those who are watching right now, it might actually be smart of us to mention that if you don't have the Paramount Plus app, you get 30 days for free from Microsoft right now because they want you to watch the show.
Right.
So probably,
that's
still
what I
catch
use.
it without doing it. Yeah, there you go. I got mine. $3 for 3 months, $1 a month. I don't know if I'll keep it after that, but yes, there are shows that my wife does like to watch on that app. So we shall see what happens after Halo.
Big Man Mo wants to know what I mean through Prime Video. What I mean is that with Prime, you can actually subscribe to other subscription services that are out there through Prime, and I think Prime Video has a very good app. Whether you're watching it on like your smart TV or your phone or your tablet, it
basically Prime Video gets access to the other subscription services servers, so they can stream all those other things through Prime Video. So if you happen to like this Prime Video app, you get that benefit from the others. Some of the apps don't have Dolby Atmos, some don't have this, some don't have that. Whereas obviously the Amazon Prime app does, so you gain some benefits if you happen to watch it through there.
Exactly, and because I shout out to the homie Asian Deli, and also condolences to him because he had a family member die of COVID overnight. But Asian Deli was on DPS podcast with us last Thursday, and he said that when he watched it through the Paramount Plus app, it was like it was doing this dynamic resolution thing, and so it kept switching from. And he couldn't change it. Like he didn't have the option to just force it to do one resolution, and so it was like going back and forth. It was really annoying to him. So like I know that's an issue.
I do recall watching that show and watching your DPS podcast episode with him. And shout out to you. There was a great episode. If anybody hasn't watched it, you definitely go check that out. He did mention something that I do want to bring up here and get y'all thoughts on.
Oh, the Korean thing.
What do you think of the diversity on display? Because he had a problem with it, and I think it's great. What do y'all think?
Wait, who had a problem with what? What's going on?
Asian Deli is he's thank you. I can't even say it right now, but he's Asian, and he did not like he thought the Asian portion and the Asian actors in the first pilot episode was pandering. He didn't like their accents and their use of Korean speech a couple times, and he thought as an Asian person that this was just like they were just trying to pander to an Asian audience when it didn't seem very authentic to him. So, that's why
I can't speak to that, right? Like I'm not gonna tell somebody else that says representation is not there or not to their liking. Like I'm not gonna be that guy. I guess I would only ask the question, is he saying that he feels like they were overacting, or is he saying that...
Yes.
Okay.
Like it was overboard.
He says they put it on, basically.
Yeah.
Oh, they were like trying to be extra Asian.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can't
I'm not touching that. Like I'm not Asian. I can't speak towards that or anything.
If there's an issue with the black people in the show, then I will speak. I'm not gonna step on that man's.
I got no problem with Keys and his daughter being black. You know, that's different.
Yeah, what about that? Because Keys is an important character, and he's
an important character, but nothing about his character is like a cultural or ethnic thing.
Sure.
So it was like,
change him. That's fine. But his daughter, that's interesting. Not only is obviously you change his father, you change the daughter, but what makes it interesting is not only did they change Keys and his daughter to black, but now they've made Keys, his daughter, his mom is Halsey.
Oh, excuse me.
Not Ken.
That is lore.
Is it lore?
That is lore.
I did not know that.
Her daughter.
I learned that. That is his daughter. Her daughter, even in the canon.
That is her very absent mother. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Cool. Interesting.
So Keys and Halsey was getting it on.
You didn't hear that?
Yes, he loves his war criminals, man.
Oh, now this is another thing that's interesting. So, I was saying this to Kay Asante, and I really do want to move to the Batman. The Keys that we get here seems like the Halsey we get here is a Halsey earlier in her career, and I think I'm not used to seeing Halsey like have to like answer to people, and the way she was having to answer to the whoever that woman was that was like saying I'll make you watch from the sidelines, the Indian lady. I hope she's Indian. I don't want to be, whatever.
I think she was,
yeah.
but we can let it go.
Yeah.
I don't want to speak in
right.
terms.
So, but I think like the way this is going to play out, I think Halsey is going to play the politics game, double cross her, and have the UNSC come to her in a moment of need and say, "Halsey, give us whatever you got," and she's going to use that to rise in status, and she's going to be not running things, but not answering to anybody, and that woman is an obstacle to her. And I think she's finished.
And once again, much like the
what'd you say? Wait, sorry, Kay. What'd you say, Pixel?
Go ahead, Pixel.
I'm sorry, but that's always been the relationship between Halsey and the UNSC. She becomes an ONI agent at some point, where she's under the operation of ONI, not working for the UNSC, so she can go around their rules.
Their rules.
So
okay.
she's always
and ONI
been,
is like the CIA, basically.
Yeah, so she's always been kind of an evil character. I'm only concerned about the goal, not about what I do to get to the goal kind of person. So there's going to be a clash there. There's no question.
There's no kinda. She's an evil character, and in this show, they need to represent the fact that like she's not like this isn't a good person. Okay, like
well, but you know what? I will, and I was about to just say that I will thread that needle that you guys are speaking and say that in the game. And on the show, to me, in my humble opinion, she is still the most interesting character.
Oh, always.
Well, that's fine. Evil characters or like characters that are shades of gray or characters who feel like the ends justify the means are always interesting. Way more interesting just than your paragons of truth or you're just comically evil, cackling, laughing. Let me tell you my evil plan character, right? No, the characters that actually like they have a motive. But you can't really quite jive with how they got to getting to achieving their goals. Those are always the characters that are more intriguing. So I think she's good for the show. But just as I just would want to it's as I said, fan fiction because it's not like canon. This is not Halo canon. But if you're going to try to keep to the essence of who these characters are. They need to really reveal to the audience just how much of a callous person she really is,
Yeah, and we can close this up. I will just say,
and I'm just keeping this Dune comment from Pragmatic Eagle on the screen. I'm gonna keep it. The show.
Just leave it there. Yes, I will just say that the way they wrote her is still very interesting because it's not just pure evil. It's not just pure good. It's like. She's playing 4D chess with everybody, and she continues to do that. And it's been that way in the game, and it looks like as much as they've changed things, they still kind of kept that essence of it the same for her.
Yeah.
Right, and I'm looking forward. There's always been this sort of motherly affection that she has towards the chief, even though she would sacrifice him if it suited her needs. And
I don't think she would. I think
it's disgusting that she speaks of them in that manner.
Yeah,
considering what she did to them, I think.
I don't think she would sacrifice him. I think she would sacrifice others for him.
Yeah, but just one additional note, right? So one change that they made that's interesting is in this lore, she's lied to them about how she got them.
Yeah, you're right.
That's an interesting.
And then covered up their memories somehow. Yeah.
Right. So that's and a lot of this of his behavior is based on him finding those new memories coming from him.
So
via the artifact, which is making him rethink some of his decisions. But I think that's probably going to be the most interesting part of the show going forward is that she lied to who they are.
Oh, can I tell you something that really bothered me with the show? Mm-hmm. So the Covenant were doing some excavation to find that artifact, right? Now, why did they run out to kill everyone if the artifact was right there where they were digging and they had already dug it out and it's just right there waiting to take? Why didn't they take it and leave with it?
It seemed to me like they didn't know the humans were there, which would be weird considering they were really out in the open with their mining and everything. Let's all leave it alone.
It's weird to me.
You're absolutely right.
Flimsy there. Don't you think they would have attacked the colony and wiped the humans out, then go excavate the Forerunner, artifacts and stuff? They seemed like they were there, and almost as if until Quan came upon them, that they didn't even know the humans were there, which would make no sense when you look at like the panning shots and how big their mining platform is, all the additional other machinery. How did you fly in there? Did you fly in there with your blinders on and didn't look at the entire planet? Like, come on.
And realistically, that's right. And realistic about that artifact, they had done all the excavation, all that they needed to do already. The artifact was literally floating in air. And as was said later in the episode, only certain humans. Now, I think all humans, because we are the Forerunner, the precursors or whatever, right? Yeah. All humans have the ability to touch that artifact and turn it on, because their human, right? The Covenant's human is also said to be able to bring it to life. So even if that's the case, that means any of the Covenant that was there that excavated that artifact could have just put it under the pocket and footballed it all the way home right from jump, instead of letting the chief get their hands on it.
Oh, wait, hold on. See, I didn't catch that. So now that makes a little bit more sense. So the Covenant are raising that human so that she can use that artifact.
Yes, remember, through and we'll learn more as we go along. Through canon, we know that humans can trigger things, right? Because we've played Halo. Humans can trigger things that other species can't, because we have been given the mantle of responsibility.
They can use for some, it's a strange thing about the lore, though, right? Mm-hmm. Humans are triggering Forerunner architecture.
Yep.
Who were the enemies of humans, but we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, but somehow we have the DNA capable that when we touch it, it recognizes us and turns on. Hence, they needed Master Chief to turn on the first Halo in the game because he was a human, right? So it seems to me that they're breeding their own human. Which
is why 343 Guilty Spark kept calling Chief Reclaimer.
Exactly.
In the library,
right? Exactly.
Leading him through.
They're breeding their own human for their own purposes to turn on those devices, right? But that's neither here nor there. We're going to see more about that later.
So that still doesn't explain the whole deference to this.
Exactly.
If that's a pet or some clone, you breed it for a specific purpose. Why do you I
think we'll hear about that later.
It's a tool.
At the end of the day, she is the white girl in the room, so she has to be. She has to be exalted. But let's continue.
No. So one thing that Gabo asked, if you have children, would you let them watch this? So
heck no.
Well, hold on a minute.
Not me.
Let me.
It's a little too bloody for my kids.
It depends on the age of the kids, right? So there's no nudity, there's no F-bombs, but people's faces literally get blown off and limbs get blown off.
There's a little bit of cursing in it.
There's a little bit of cursing.
But there are children slaughtered in this.
Like
a lot
evaporated. I mean, Order 69 or whatever the hell that order was literally shows up like right from jump, and they just nuke a whole field of kids, so I don't think that may be something we should do.
There's a teenage girl or a preteen girl running who gets her legs blown off, and then
you
her
see
body
it in plain clear light. That's right.
The first shot took a teenager's head off. So I mean,
right.
They were going
evaporated humans in the dust of misty blood. Like, whoa.
Well, but see, sometimes the rules are like, well, there's no blood, so you can get away with it.
It was blood though. It was all over Quan's face.
That's right.
That blood stayed on her face for the rest of the
but
episode.
it's a little splatter, a little splashy splash. Be alright. Bill's character, man.
I would really like to know where this would fall if it fell into standard like TV fare. Would this be HBO? Would this be? I think it is like prestige viewing from a TVMA perspective or whatever, because I don't think this is meant for kids. At least from what.
No, I don't think so. No, my kids are younger. I got one that's closer to becoming a teenager. He's a preteen. I would let him watch this, but my younger kids, no. Now with the
so my youngest is 12 years
blood
old.
in the actual kids.
I was very surprised by what was shown early on. I did not expect it. So when my 3-year-old was like, he killed him, I'm like, oh boy.
Oh, it's time.
Problem.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm
You
not
guys
letting my
gotta go
3 or my
upstairs.
5 watch
Yep,
that.
they gotta go upstairs. Yep.
Okay, time to put on Dora.
That's right.
Yeah.
So shall we move on to Batman?
Yeah. Just in my house, the youngest is 12 years old, and she watches all kind of anime. And I don't think there's anything
12 is
worse
all
in
right,
here
I
that's
think.
in the animes.
Oh no,
That's true.
Yeah.
All right. So the Batman. And I don't know who
Can we
wants
keep the spoilers to the end? Let's keep the
I don't-
spoilers of the Batman to the end, and let's announce it when it's time. Because I know some people in our chat have not watched it.
Okay. All right. I want to go around and just, without spoilers, what are our overall thoughts? I will go last. Mr. K. Asante, you go first. And then Slow-Mo and then Pixel.
Okay.
No spoilers.
My bumper sticker, overarching thoughts on this movie was, it's highly watchable, right? It is highly watchable. It's very, very good and entertaining. But for this specific franchise, this was not necessary. It adds nothing new. And actually, there are others within this franchise that have done it better than it purports to do it now. So it's like, to me personally, as highly watchable and as good as it was, they should have saved that money and introduced other characters who woefully need stories told on the silver screen instead of the umpteenth Batman movie that treads the same damn ground. As watchable as this was, and it is, and it does some interesting things, and we'll get into that. But long story short, at the end of it all, no matter how much new ground it treads, it still doesn't outdo the Nolan films. There are certain parts that are like every single Batman movie specifically brings something new to the table. Every single one of them. Even this one brings new things to the table. But to me, my humble opinion, it doesn't bring enough new to the table to warrant another iteration in this franchise when there are other DC characters who really need a damn movie. So to me, as watchable as this was, it was a waste of time. Y'all should have spent your money elsewhere.
So I don't know.
That's my high level.
I don't know. I don't know how fair it is to say that we're going to judge the movie based on the fact that we don't think it should have been made.
Well, no. And this is why I'm threading the needle specifically to me, right? We've seen many a film, and every film is allowed to exist, and we're going to allow. We're taking it for what it's worth, right? I appreciate they didn't retread the whole origins ground. We didn't see Crime Alley. We didn't see roses thrown on the floor. I appreciate all of that. But the point is, and this is specific to Batman. Any other movie, any other story, we can have a conversation. How many times how many people? Well, okay, Batman and 007 are I think the two unique ones that this can apply to. There have been so much, even though 007 is kind of different because they add new things to the equation, whereas Batman tries to retread. Oh, here's a new Joker. We've seen Joker before. Oh, here's a new Riddler. We've seen. They're always reinventing the existing canon already. They're always, and then but this time it's realer. Oh, but this time he's realer. It's like, what if it was real rather than superhero fake, right? They're always trying to rewrite the original script. Whereas other franchises, which have many iterations in them, just move the story forward. Batman is unique in that it doesn't necessarily move the story forward. It just tries to retell that exact same thing and shows it from a different perspective. What you were saying, Everborn Saga, which I completely agree with on this is the closest to the animated series that has ever been told. That's what it brings to the table. It's very, very much like, if you love the animated series, you will love this because it's very adjacent to it, right? They go much more in the greatest detective direction, even though I will argue that he's not that great a detective, but that's a story for a spoiler talk. That's fine. But they do reference that, and they do show you that, and they do put you into that frame of mind rather than he's the Shadow, rather than, is he a man or is he an animal, which a lot of these other parts of the franchise have done, right? They're making him a real dude who's wearing a suit, a dude, emo Batman, rather than this this force of nature. So to that I can respect, but Batman Begins exists, even though this went a little further. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's almost like they used that as the ability to justify its existence, but they didn't go far enough in that direction, in my humble opinion. It didn't tell. It wasn't like off the beaten path. The Nolan stories and this should not exist side by side. I don't know. Like, that's just my humble opinion. I completely agree with you that it's a little unfair to bring the meta narrative to it, but the meta narrative has existed for this franchise forever and a day. But they still choose to keep spending more money on this specific character when there are so many.
Batman brings in the big bucks. What do you want from him?
Yeah, to me, this.
Hey, you guys continue. I will be right back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No worries. No worries. Yeah. Go ahead. Slow. Yeah. What is your high level of this right now?
Look, I'll just keep it. I liked it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't love it. I think I may have gotten caught up in some of the hype from some of the DC stands that were like speaking of it as if it was like on the level of the Dark Knight, and I'm just like, whoa, talking Dark Knight now? Like Dark Knight, one of the best, superhero movies ever created. Dark Knight. I'm like, okay, all right. So like, I'm thinking like the performances are on par. The performances were fine. Like, I don't think anybody was bad or anything. I thought maybe some actors were wasted in their roles. Like, what's Irish guy name? The one that plays all the prosthetics on his face throughout the whole movie.
Yeah. The Penguin.
Yeah. Who? Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell.
Yeah. I mean, like the fact that, like, I mean, half the time I just keep looking like that's really Colin Farrell. Like, I'm trying to see Colin Farrell in all of that, but it was all right. I like them trying to go with a different take, not so much Batman that relies on his
gadgets,
his skills, his ability to beat the crap out of everybody all the time. Knowing every martial art known to man, kind of Batman, and all of his, his being the rich billionaire that he is, being able to spend money and get all these gadgets to kind of get him in and out of all these situations, but trying to be a detective, trying to figure out. I like that it was more of a mystery of how this would get resolved versus what you typically see from a Batman movie, where who all the main characters are, even though like we knew who the Riddler was, but it was just like, are you going to catch him kind of deal. I thought that was cool. But that said, upon further reflection, I start to think back to it, and I haven't rewatched it again as other people have. I'm gonna wait till it gets to HBO Max and then rewatch it again, which probably like next month or something like that. But I think back to some of the things that happened, and I'm just like, yo, so if you're the greatest detective in the world, how did you not know X?
Exactly. That's what I was saying. Yes.
Some of that stuff was like, if you're the greatest detective in the world, why are you why are you walking into some of the kind of situations you're walking into?
Keep the spoilers a little light, but that's why I said he might not be that great a detective, because
a little overblown. Did you call yourself the greatest detective, or just somebody else? Because
both him and Gordon,
that great.
Both him and Gordon seem to be having things happen to them rather than them actually understanding what's going on. It's kind of like, whoa. They were like, very Keanu Reeves, you know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about. Very Keanu
Bill and Ted detectives. What's going on? Whoa. Man,
exactly.
That was gnarly. That guy's head blew up. Oh, man. Are you going to stop?
It was pretty much that. It was like things were happening to them, and they were just kind of like, "Whoa," like, that's what happened. What do you think?
I love that. That's so funny. I do think, I will say this. I think the performances were on point, and I think the directing, as dark as everything was, I got it. Like, I got the theme of it, and I understood it. I liked them not having like the Batcave, you know, or the manor that like Bruce was living out of Wayne Manor, like I mean Wayne Tower, which is a little different, but also kind of makes sense as well. I like that we got to see that he wasn't the playboy yet.
Yep, true.
That the persona that he puts
Wayne barely existed. Like Bruce Wayne was just kind of like, you know, he was Bruce Wayne under duress.
Yeah, he's got Alfred like, people haven't seen you in 2 weeks. Can you like bathe, like comb your hair, and then act like you are a person for like a day? You do, you know, that kind of
real
thing.
Quick, to be fair to the film, yes, I do recognize that this is Batman Year 2. I recognize that. So he doesn't necessarily have all of his capabilities at hand.
All the experience.
Still learning I get that. But like, we are with him, and we're supposed to see that this is why he exists. This is why he's as good as he is. This is why he lasts as long as he does. Right? Like, we're supposed to be with him and go, whoa, this is why this dude is great. Because even, you know, he's a normal man, and more than most films, in this film, he's very much a quote-unquote normal man, right? Or year one, you know, that's fine. Normal man, but he has such capabilities and such skills that he's able to put on this mask. He's able to, you know, go out there and do these unusual things. And the police need him. Like, they need him, right? That's the story. That's the needle they were trying to thread. But every action kind of made it seem like, do they really need him, though? Like, I don't know.
I mean, look, there were some parts where like they would tell him the riddle and he knew the answer immediately.
And he knew, that part you're right.
It was just like, all right, okay, I see you.
It's like he knew.
But then there's other parts where it's like, that's obvious, bro, and he still don't get it. It's like,
it's like he played puzzle games as a kid a long time with his buddy, the Riddler. So he knew how to counteract all of that immediately. I get that part, but the rest kind of seemed like, you know, because, you know, they're trying to convince you the greatest detective. He's out there. He's detecting when he's solving cases that the police have a problem solving, right? And two things. Thing one, they let him in the room.
I thought we weren't doing spoilers. All right, let's go through this thing, and if we're gonna talk about these things, that is a spoiler.
That they let him in the room?
Yeah,
that's a spoiler.
Yeah, Pixel. What do you think, sir?
Okay. Forgive me, please, Pixel. Yes, go ahead.
Pixel is here for the ride because I have not seen the show yet.
Oh, you haven't seen the movie yet? Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm ready to discuss this thing, but I don't want the training wheels on. I want to talk spoilers. Okay. Pixel, is it okay if we talk a little bit of spoilers?
Do your thing, man.
Okay.
Okay. For those in the chat who don't want the Batman spoilers, now is your warning. We are now going to speak Batman spoilers. Go for it.
Okay. So here's the thing.
I
don't know where to start with this thing. Okay. The best way for me to describe this film is as a cover song. Where it's great. I see the new affectations. I see you adding your own little vibe to it, but it's still a cover. And I remember the original. Right? And maybe maybe this is just old man Everborn talking, and maybe if you were 30 years old or younger, you know, all of this stuff seems fresh and new, and so it seems like a new take, but it's not. Right? So that's the first thing. I do think what the film gets right is mood, ambiance, tone, but it feels like that's all that's there.
Gotham.
Right?
So what do you think this what movie is this a cover of?
7?
Mm-hmm.
But absolutely 7.
But with Batman closing.
but like
it's 7 sprinkled with a bunch of the Batman Begins stuff.
Yes. But then like this still would be fresh for Batman because it's not like, see, like when you said a cover, I thought it meant like a cover of another Batman movie. But no.
So I do think that Nolan's Dark Knight has sort of cursed us to
Undue
is the way
influence.
you have to do Batman, and everything will be some sort of version of that. And
it was that damn good. So yeah, I mean, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, but it's fine. But if like the problem is, if you're gonna try to be a version of that and not a completely new thing, now I have to compare it. And
this is my point. This is the point I was trying to make.
If I'm beginning to make these comparisons, the villain is not as good as Heath Ledger's Joker. It's not. I'm sorry, it isn't. Right? Yeah. The fight choreography is not as good as Zack Snyder's warehouse Batman scene. Right?
True.
Bruce Wayne is basically non-existent here, and I get that because like he hasn't learned how to be Bruce Wayne, and Bruce Wayne is the mask. But that still says it's not the best Bruce Wayne. So what in this film is the best in what we've gotten from Batman on screen? Aside from the Penguin.
It's probably the best Catwoman.
Eartha Kitt is the best Catwoman, but go ahead.
It's the best Catwoman. That's probably the best. The best. I do like this Riddler compared to, like, you know, comically weird Jim Carrey Riddler.
Oh, definitely, definitely.
Yeah, course, this Riddler being more of like he is. You know, I think he's very relatable to the younger generations today, like the kind of Antifa kind of guy that's like, you know,
he seems like an actual criminal, an actual threat, you know, not necessarily karate and all these fighting and whatnot. Even he says he's not there for fighting, but his psychological capabilities seem to actually be a cause for concern.
He has a motive. Like, I never felt like the Riddler really had like a motive outside of I'm smarter than you and I'm just a weirdo. Like, this guy is, I'm smarter than you, but also I hate everything that this city stands for. I hate the hypocrisy of these politicians. I hate all of that, and I'm gonna tear it all down. Yeah, like, there's a bigger motive there with this Riddler compared to previous ones.
Yeah, I do think the Riddler was done well. I think part of the problem, though, we're saying this is a detective story. We're calling it a noir, you know what I mean, hard-boiled, you know, let's really show Batman as a detective. And like you guys have spoken to, he doesn't detect much, right? No. He's good at solving riddles, right? And crossword puzzles. Right, but not even the crossword puzzles, he has to defer to Alfred, right?
Sudoku champion,
exactly. Right. So the thing is, though, what I feel like it doesn't work as a detective story because you and I, and this is a problem with the film, right? Like this is a meta problem, but it is still the context that we all go in with. We all know Paul Dano's playing the Riddler. We all know the Joker is the Riddler. And I think for detective stories like this to work, the killer should be someone who you interact with somewhere earlier in the film and you don't realize
and just don't know.
And it's kind of like a whodunit. But this is just like things are going to happen and then we're going to go to the guy who always wanted to be caught the whole time. And to me, you know, it's less... It's just less interesting because you could even go to like what was the movie that Mark Ruffalo and Robert Downey Jr. did? What was it? Summer of Sam?
I do remember that.
Right. So even then, you know, that movie was like overlong and you know it was good, but I just didn't get that feeling watching this again. Partly because I know who the Riddler is. I know you're going to the Riddler. I think it works more if we can actually see who the killer is before. And then you figure out, oh, it was that guy the whole time. So as a detective story, I don't know that it works. As a sort of homage to Seven, I don't know that it works. And then the whole thing that the whole story hinges itself on is, what did they break the number one rule in filmmaking? Show, don't tell. They had Falcone tell you this thing that the whole story is supposed to be hinged on, and then they undo it in the very next scene where he goes to see Alfred in the hospital. And even then, they don't show you anything there. It's just like, all of these explosions and all this other stuff. Now I'm going to tell you one thing. This turns everything you believed on your head. That's interesting, right? Psych, let's go back. The Waynes were good people. Your father was a good man. And to me, it's like it was all of that buildup just for an exposition dump. And that doesn't work narratively for me.
What about the conversation? I'm paying attention to the stuff in the chat. What about the thought of the relationship between Gordon and Batman?
Oh yes, that's another thing. So what are they saying in the chat? Because I have a problem with that relationship.
Yeah, so do I. But he was saying, let me see, who is it? Why aren't you guys elevating the dynamic relationship with Batman and Gordon? I don't think it's
okay.
dynamic.
No. Who said that? Who said that?
Yaz Bays, I think. Bays, I think.
Okay.
About to ban him or something? He's like, who said that?
All right.
How dare you?
Listen. Let me tell you something.
It's a difference of opinion. Go ahead.
There was, now since you brought it up, there's a trope in writing called the mammy complex, where the black character has no agency, no wants, no needs of their own. They are only there to serve their white counterpart, and they make no decisions. It's just like, how can I help you, boss? And they turn Gordon to a black guy just to have him literally do nothing. The only decision Gordon makes in this movie is to get punched in the face by Batman. Gordon cannot solve one thing on his own. He has to bring in this white guy to come in and do his job for him. At least with Gary Oldman's Batman, Gordon, he was partners with Batman, and they both did things, and they were in on his scheme.
They did things equally.
Tell me, Yaz, and I'm not coming at you. I'm just, I'm being theatric. But
man.
Tell me what Jeffrey Wright's Gordon did. What decision did he make other than saying Batman punched me in the face?
And lady saying
the only decision he made was he gave Batman access to the crime scenes when the police definitely. Right, yeah. Look, and he even almost admitted it. He was just like, yo, come on, get yourself together. I need you. Like that kind of talk. Like, man, dude, can you detect?
I don't know what I'm doing. I need to get the Batman here. He has to solve the riddles.
And you made parallels to Seven, and the reason why Seven is still a superior movie to this, even though their themes are very similar, is that Brad Pitt is a decent detective, but Morgan Freeman is like superior to him in every way in that aspect. Morgan Freeman did research. He went to libraries. He Brad was more of, all right, let's go out here, let's get it done. Let me look at the scene, I'll figure it out kind of stuff. Whereas Morgan Freeman was trying his best to get into the mind of this guy that they were trying to stop. And then even then, we compared the villain in Seven to the Riddler, is that like the villain in Seven, he actually outsmarted them at every single turn. Like whereas the Riddler really kind of didn't. It's just more of like there's a particular thing that Batman, if Batman would have just like, hey, why did he use this specific tool and figured that out? He probably would have got to the crux of what the Riddler was trying to do a lot sooner.
Yeah, and like the carpet tool that's left behind, you don't think to look under the carpet?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what we're doing?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's something Gordon should have figured out. If you tell me, look, Bruce Wayne is a billionaire rich kid, he never picked up a tool in his life, you gonna tell me that Gordon couldn't nothing? What did Gordon do as a cop here other than say, hey, Batman, can you do my homework for me? I didn't study.
Yeah, Yaz says you've lost a fan because of your opinion.
I
there.
think Yaz will respect me in the end because I'm keeping it real.
Keeping it
Now,
100.
now that's it.
Yeah,
I
I'd like
think
to be
the
wrong,
idea of trying to pattern this behind something similar to like Seven for a superhero movie was ambitious and smart of them to do. If you're going to make it this a detective story, you want to shoot for the king. Like shoot for one of the best ones in a movie that we've ever seen. But then again, at the end, I think it kind of like. It's almost embarrassing to see that interview with the Riddler and Batman. The Riddler is just
exactly.
I thought you were smarter than this. What?
Exactly. Exactly. That's what did it for me. That meeting with the Riddler and Batman is what solidified it for me. Like, why is Batman the one that doesn't know what's going on in this situation?
He's the last person to know
anything. Like, that's so strange. So okay. And we're rounding. We're about 2 hours in, but I kind of want to ask you guys.
Wait, before you ask this question, there's something that really bothered me about this movie, and people are saying like it was the best Bruce Wayne and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Why was he such a dickhead to Alfred?
Yeah, that's a good
hold
question.
on a minute, just 1 second here. He's gonna say you're not my father. And you have a Wayne cufflink? You think you're a Wayne now? Like he's just a fucking help? Who the hell does he think he is?
I didn't really mind
this
that.
This little orphan son of a bitch.
He's still young. He's still like I think an older, more experienced Batman and who's understands a lot more and isn't as caught up in his own rage as this Batman is would be a lot more sympathetic to what Alfred has done for him in his entire life. Like if we could all go back to when we were in our like early 20s. We didn't treat our parents with the utmost respect that we should have treated them all the time either.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm
saying, I don't know what you're talking
about.
Would have gave me a two-piece, but
even today, my 41-year-old ass is gonna get knocked out if I talk out of school. What you talking about, man?
But look, go, raise your arm and look at your skin tone and see, and you see why that's the case compared to rich billionaire,
most definitely,
orphan boy,
most definitely
who's raised by his butler. So, I think it's a little different, but it's like I understood some of that because he's young and he doesn't, even though like he has a level of maturity that most other people his age don't have. He still is a young kid trying to do things that also dealing with a ton of issues that he should definitely have therapy for, and it shows in different ways. So like I didn't really have a problem with that.
So I just have to ask, and anyone and everyone can answer this for me. We've all seen Batman. We've seen many versions of Batman. We've seen the movies. We've seen the cartoons. We've seen the latest movies, the last movies. We've seen the original 80s movies. Does this deserve to exist alongside of them?
Yes.
I absolutely.
You think so?
I do think
we
so.
We got Batman Forever. Look, man, we got Val Kilmer Batman who didn't even he wouldn't even dye his hair black. Like we got Nipples Batman with George Clooney. Like we got there's been some abysmal Batman.
No, I know there's been some terrible Batmans out there. I know that. But I guess my question is, if you're going to take such a sprinkling from the Nolanverse and add it to yours, why even bother? I was hoping they were going to go in a different direction because that exists. But instead, like Everborn has said, and I agree with him, it sounds like a Beatles cover band rather than someone trying to make something of their own.
Yeah.
You guys don't see that?
No, it does. And another thing that really bothered me, and it like to that end, it was like people like the Nolan Batman. We need to be dark. We need to be grounded. We need to be gritty. We need to be edgy. So in the opening scene where someone says, "Who are you?" and he says, "I'm vengeance," no one would say that. No one would like that was when when I audibly sighed in the theater. I was like, "Oh God, here we go. This is what we're doing for this
guy
movie."
who would dress himself up in a rubber / bulletproof suit
could say I'm vengeance
after a bat, and then take it upon himself in the middle of the night to completely forget his responsibilities as the leader of a $1 billion corporation to beat up criminals in the middle of the night will call himself vengeance if someone asks.
See, and you know what? As cringe as that statement was in the beginning, what got me was at the end of it all, when somebody else called themselves vengeance, and then all of a sudden you see the epiphany on Batman's face going, maybe I shouldn't have said that. That part made me go, "Oh, come on, man!"
I actually like that. I like that line.
You did?
I actually like that too.
Yeah, I thought thematically it worked.
No!
It's a light bulb moment for the character.
Yeah,
and it's a call back to
it's
you kind of created
out a gun. It's basically pulling out a gun in the first act and using it in the third. I get that.
You can't show a gun in Act 1 if it's not going to go off by Act 3. That's the rule.
It's also the reason why the villain, the Riddler, thought that in his twisted mind that Batman was his ally in this, in a way.
Real quick,
you're angry like me.
Does the Riddler know who Batman is?
No,
because I thought he did, and Batman thought he did, and then all of a sudden he didn't.
Yeah, Batman thought he did with the way that he spoke in the beginning of the interview, the way he was speaking to him.
Yeah,
he did think he was.
And then if you look inside the Riddler's home with all that stuff, you almost think that he has it together because who is this man? And he's circling Bruce Wayne and all of this.
I'll tell
it's
you
almost like it's almost like he thought he got it, but they never addressed it. Go ahead.
I'll tell you what I interpreted from that scene. I think he knows, but because he thinks they're friends, he just didn't give the secret away to those listening. He was like letting him know, like, yeah, I know, but I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
That's how I interpret it. I'm not saying that that's what the director meant, but that's how I saw it.
But then after but how would that work if after he realized like, oh, you not even, I thought you were smarter than this.
Mm-hmm.
You not even who I really thought you were. Why would if that was the case, I'd been like, hey, yo, look, somebody get Bruce Wayne up out of my face. Like at that point, like, I'm not protecting you no more, you dummy.
That's right.
Get up out of here, Bruce Wayne. Go run your company because you suck at being a vigilante.
And you know what? That may very well be the case. It's just the ideas that they put the breadcrumbs there. They showed the pictures. They literally stopped the camera on those newspaper clippings long enough for you to put it together yourself. That, hey, he figured this out. Only to then have him not figure it out, for him not to mention it. It was, and he did mention it, right? He almost did thread that needle while they were having that conversation, and then he just kind of
didn't connect the dots.
Yeah, it's like he walked up to the line and then walked backwards.
But as smart as they're telling us the Riddler is, the fact that he didn't get that is like.
And that's what makes me believe what you're saying, that he got it, but he just kind of wants to keep it in his back pocket.
I want to believe that he got it, because if not, the movie is dumber than I thought. Here's another problem. And I dare anyone, because there's a lot of the Batman apologists in the chat. I dare anybody in the chat or on the panel to explain this to me. In the end, at the stadium scene where he had to cut the wire so it wouldn't electrocute everybody, why didn't he cut it below where he was holding it? Why did he have to cut it above so that he would fall? Did he want to fall in the water because it looked good on camera?
Yeah, he could have easily cut it beneath him and then still been holding on to the
anybody. Somebody make that make sense to me, please.
Yeah, I can't answer that one. What I had more of an issue with was him pulling out the Bane serum out of nowhere, and just like that's a very like a Deus Ex kind of like move to make. Okay, I'm in a bad position here. Let me just go pull out this Bane serum. Get a level.
I think that's for you. I I think that was for the audience that knows what that is, not necessarily
if
a real story.
The audience who doesn't know what that is, don't know what that is,
makes no sense to you.
It makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like, where'd that come from?
So here's the thing. I think that is likely the result of a deleted scene, because I think he made that after the funeral explosion where he was caught off guard. And for some miracle of a reason, the cops that don't trust him decided, even though he was in their custody, that they wouldn't pull off his mask, which makes no sense to me.
Yeah,
I can't take any of the movie seriously after that.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think he decided he can't get knocked out again, so he has to have something to wake him up if something happens.
That part, what you're talking about, where they remove the mask, it really it harkened me back to an episode of the animated series. Whereas in the animated series, obviously because it's an animated series, you can do that. He has this track contraption that goes off anytime anybody tries to touch the mask to take it off. Like
they did that in the Burton movies also, I think.
Something like that, yeah. So
it was like a shock. Yeah. Like it was like a taser. It hit some people if they touch his mask, or like I think it's like it has to be the direction, because if he touched his own mask, then he's fine. But like if someone comes at it from a different angle, then it like activates or whatever. But that's like clearly technology that he's not using.
Yeah.
And
how long was he?
Just 1 second. Hey, Pragmatic Eagle. Listen, I'm a Halo apologist. Slow-mo's a Dune apologist. It's okay.
I'm not an apologist.
We all apologize for things.
I'm a truth seeker. I'm a truth sayer of Doom.
Don't take it the wrong way. We all apologize for something.
Unconscious? How long was he unconscious to where somebody could think that, hey, maybe they were trying to remove the mask? I see ladies saying they were going to remove the mask. How long was he unconscious for?
They took him from the church to the precinct. And at no point,
so they had a lot of time in between that time.
Off at the church. They should have taken his mask off there. That'd been the first thing I would have gone after. I'm like, he's out? Because
we know the only person that likes him in that entire precinct would be Gordon. The rest of them think he shouldn't be there. The rest of them are like, you could tell because they gave you that, right? What's this dude doing here? He shouldn't be here, whatever. If you have the opportunity to unmask him, you wouldn't take it, even if Gordon says don't touch him?
Yeah, shut up, Gordon.
Grabbing
the mask, right?
And he wasn't even Commissioner Gordon at that time. He wasn't there yet.
He's just a detective. Yeah.
Yeah.
People
could have just been like, "Get out of here,"
Don't do that.
That part was a loose thread that they really didn't fix. It could have been better. I think
it made zero sense. So. But I do one thing I do want to give them credit for, and Lady Saiyan, we can absolutely get you on the show. I know sometimes in the chat they don't get, it's not enough characters. It's hard to argue these things, but I do want to give them credit because the mannerisms and the awkwardness of Batman, especially like one of my favorite scenes in the film is when he was adjusting the contact lens cameras. And you thought he was going in for a kiss, and you don't know if he really cares about her or doesn't care about her. And then he's just like, yeah, I'm just adjusting your contact lens. And I was like, that's it. Right there, you got it. That's Batman and his awkwardness with Selina. So
with humans, yes. I get on that.
I like that. And again, Colin Farrell was great. The atmosphere and setting is great. And I honestly... I think I enjoyed this film more than I did Batman Begins, and I think this is a. I
will agree with that.
What'd you say?
Okay, yeah, I'll give you that.
So I obviously not as good as The Dark Knight, but I do think it is a solid foundation to where they can really knock our socks off in the sequel, because they had to do a lot just to get us here. Like Nolan's first movie in the Batman, mythos wasn't The Dark Knight. He had to get there, and I think they set up enough to where we have this interesting view of Gotham that ultimately, if you ask me, doesn't solely revolve around Batman, right? I think he's made a world, he successfully crafted a world where the other characters are interesting enough to where you'd want to follow them in their journeys.
I mean, clearly Matt Reeves, NWB agree with you because they also have a Gotham TV show coming up, which is very like risky thing to do because a flop of a Gotham TV show just like aired recently and was canceled. Right. But supposedly because they've seen this movie and Matt Reeves' Gotham was so well created, they think it's worth trying again. So we shall see what that looks like.
I did want to say one thing that I thought that Matt Reeves did great, that he kind of displayed that no other director has been able to do for Batman so far. Okay. When the bat signal goes up, the reaction of the criminals was very telling. Because to them, that was like, oh, it's time to cut this out.
Yeah.
Because who's he coming after? Is it me? Or is it going to be someone else?
To that end, I thought it was great where the guy was spray painting something and the spray paint can kind of rolls into the shadows. And he's like, nah, I'm good. I'm not getting that.
Right. Yeah. He's like,
although
who's over there?
Hilarious to me that Batman would find graffiti something that he would beat people up over. Exactly. But again,
but just like any criminal, like the graffiti artist thinks that what he's doing is the most important thing in Gotham right at that moment. So all criminals, whether you're robbing at the convenience store, you're doing graffiti, you're with a gang and you're being initiating, you're beating some guy up for no reason. Literally everyone, they see that symbol go up in the sky and they're like, no, it might be time to go home. And just like that kind of that the way that was directed, that view I haven't seen that from anything else. Like I've seen in other Batman movies almost like how are you so dumb that you not like the way some of these criminals are when Batman shows up and the disdain and just like, I'm not afraid of you. Like what? He's Batman. How are you not afraid? Haven't you seen all the other criminals after they meet him and they can't walk right and their hip is broken and stuff? Like, why would you even think that you wouldn't, that you have any chance to come out of this on top, right? So it's just like that, the mentality that like this dude out here breaking backs and messing people up. Hey, I think I'm gonna go home. I like that idea.
How many people, and how could Batman control this? How many people just succumb to their injuries when Batman beats them up?
Exactly. How many people did he kill?
I don't think they want to talk about that.
Like, how many people did he kill? Because I really
all of this we can't kill stuff. Like he's like, you can't kill on screen.
Right.
He killed a bunch of people in the movie, for sure.
In the moment, we can't kill. If he dies 2 days later,
if I walk out the door and you're breathing, you good. I didn't break my rule.
I am absolved of any blame here. Hey, look,
that's a great comment.
If your kidneys failed and you ended up dying after the fact, hey, that's on you. Bad genes, bro. That's funny.
So, all right. No, but like I do think there is a lot to like there. I just think the things that bothered me, like really bothered me. But I do think that they're in a good place to go forward, and I think people need to be easy calling it the best Batman movie ever made. I think that's recency bias. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
But I do think they got a lot right, and there's nothing that they've done that is unfixable. I think in a sequel. One other thing I think I should add that just rubbed me the wrong way. Batman's a detective, but and I joke about this a lot. I said Batman is a cop. Make no mistake. And this movie just solidifies that idea that Batman is a cop. But the idea that he's just buddy, chummy, walking in crime scenes, like Batman is a detective, but he's supposed to go to the crime scene when the police is gone, move in the shadows, get the evidence he needs and out. He's just
he should be helping them. He should be helping them even though they don't want his help. But instead, they're like this one. It's like, well, Gordon likes him, so I guess he can stick around.
No, I mean
really?
The cops didn't like him. They gave him attitude, but he shouldn't be in front of them. The cops would swarm him and,
That's right.
and take him in, and he'd have to fight them. He should be doing that stuff in the shadows. It's a wink and a nod, and a lot of the GCPD, they're like, yeah, go get him because I think you deserve it. But again, he shouldn't be walking in the crime scene while all the cops is there. Mm-hmm. He should be using his
I completely agree
skills.
with you on that, and I agree with. I'll take it even a step further and go. When they have him walking among them, him in costume looks even goofier than it should. Like the shadows works for him because then he can be. Is he a human? Is he a creature? We don't know. He can be an investigator. He can do what he needs to do while being sneaky and quiet. When when a bunch of them are eating donuts and they're all just walking down the hall, and here's a dude with pointy ears and a mask on, and he looks like a goofy idiot that doesn't belong there. Like it breaks the mystique of that man.
I think it would have been better if he was there and they didn't even know he was there.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Investigating as they're investigating, and then Gordon goes over to a corner, and then Batman is hanging outside the window.
That's right.
And he tells him, "This is everything that you missed. I saw this, I saw that. You missed another riddle that was tucked in the corner. Here's that. This is what it means." That would have been damn, this guy's great.
That's what we're looking for.
Yeah.
Rather than just simping among the rest of them with his cape on, walking around like, what?
So
what is this?
And the problem with that is that it breaks it's strange credulity, right? It breaks the immersion and the verisimilitude, because you just know that this is freaking stupid. It's stupid that
they're trying to convince you that this is the realest Batman out there.
So and here's the problem. You're telling me on the one hand that it's grounded. This feels real. It feels like a real place. But you can't tell me it's grounded and then tell me the police wouldn't try to take off his mask, or that they would just let him walk on
among them.
Scene.
But
right?
It counteracts their own narrative. That's just weird.
So they've set me up to believe this is a grounded thing. So now I'm questioning it in the realm of reality. And if you want me to think this is a fantasy, then you can't have the film itself be so grounded. And I feel like it's at odds with itself in some of those.
Completely agree. Completely. Even though it's completely watchable, even though it's entertaining, if you're a Batman fan, you're gonna love it. But some of these questions, some of these criticisms are super, super valid. To me, the idea that he's just walking around amongst the cops was a very weird. It took me out. Really? Y'all just gonna let him walk around like that? Oh, y'all gonna let him come and what do you call it? Interview a criminal, especially considering the fact that Gordon is the only one in the entire precinct that will vouch for you. Come on now, and he's not the commissioner at this time. How are you going to get into a very closed area with the police's help? It'd be one thing if you kind of, you're Batman, so you're sneaking through and nobody can see you, and you go and you interview this guy, even though nobody knows you're there. That I can buy that. But to walk in with your cape on and your weird pointy ears and just be really, that took it out for me.
And I think it would have made more sense as Gordon eventually becomes commissioner, that he is getting help from Batman and figuring out crimes as far as the police, as far as Gotham PD is concerned. Gordon is just that damn amazing. But really, he is a good detective, but he's got the world's greatest detective in his back pocket that's also helping him along the way, just that nobody knows that, and therefore that kind of helps him along in his career. And then he also helps Batman and giving Batman, hey, look, you need some information, here's some file, even though he could probably just get on his super hacking computer-esque whatever sci-fi stuff and go through their own database if he wanted to. But they help each other along. But I don't really see how Gordon gets any kind of respect, that he keeps calling in the weirdo vigilante to help him determine everything. Why are you here? Why are you even even employed as a detective here if you can't do your job without him. You know, like it needs to look like he's doing it without him, and it doesn't. You know, so I do agree with you guys with that. Like I said, if it was like more of a he's there but they don't know he's there and he's seeing everything, that would go more towards the mystique of Batman. That wow, this guy can be in the room and they don't know.
Just imagine you're at your job and you're like, look, I don't know how to code. Let me go bring somebody in a costume to go sit at my computer and go and do my job for me.
and then Batman of typing shows up. And this time
That's what's happening here. It's strange.
Why am I paying you?
Oh my God! And then what? C++ man shows up and just kind of like takes care of business.
These are the questions, man. So again, I'm not saying this to like crap all over the films. These are the things that bothered me. I don't think it's a failed attempt. I think they really did a lot of good work setting up the world. I think they got a lot of things right, and most of my issues are not with performances. My issues are not with tone. My issues are not with special effects. Though I think the fight choreography could have been a little bit better. Not that it was bad, and it was definitely better than Nolan's, because Nolan doesn't give a crap about.
Nolan's is really bad. Too many cuts. A lot. You barely see what's going
lumbering
on.
it around.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Right, like so. Like I get that it was better than the Nolan choreography, but it's hard to watch Zack Snyder's fights and then.
Are we going to see more in this world besides the Gotham TV show? Do we expect there to be like a trilogy like the others have,
or a movie?
Well, but that is transmedia. They're breaking off canon and going in another direction with a different character. Are we going to see?
But I thought that the Batgirl movie takes place in this universe.
Yes, but are we going to see another Batman movie? Are we going to see 2 and 3?
Of course.
Is that known or is that your assumption?
I think Batman prints money.
Because I haven't heard about it.
I think Batman prints money.
Obviously, that's a bit of my criticism. I think that because Batman prints money, like they spend too much money on him, when I feel like they have other characters that deserve some money spent on them on the silver screen. That's neither here nor there. I'm just wondering.
That's not this movie's fault.
No, definitely not. 100%. That is definitely not this movie's fault.
That's the fact that we're bringing issue.
Yeah, the fact that we're bringing the meta to it doesn't like take away from the film. I'm not saying that at all. I guess my question is, do we foresee, much like how Batman Begins spawned, the other two, do we foresee us like seeing other iterations with Batman as he is now? Do we see Bruce Wayne become Bruce Wayne? Is this the beginning of a new Batman Begins?
A new trilogy? Yeah. I mean, look, I think by necessity, by the fact that Ben Affleck is no longer playing Batman and the DCEU, that they need a Batman. They need an actor to do that. And now we have what's the guy's name?
Michael Keaton.
No. But yeah, the current
Robert Pattinson.
We got Pattinson here. He is he's willing to do the role. He did a decent job here. I think they're going to continue on with that because they need a Batman right now. And look, like we said, it prints money. So
is he the best Batman we've had? Not the movie, just him as a character.
No, I don't think so. But he's not bad.
Definitely not bad.
He's definitely not the worst. So like he's nowhere near that. So I think they'll continue on with him and they'll try to progress him as a character, be a better and it's told that way on a narrative sake that like he's not a very good Bruce Wayne. We get better in subsequent movies as being Bruce Wayne and being the Batman, being the world's greatest detective. I think they should continue on with the way the theme of this movie is more of detecting versus just being a hero and just going after the villain, infiltrating their lair, beating up all their goons, chasing the Penguin or the Riddler or whoever.
Yeah,
I
agree with Lady saying in the chat. Animated Batman is the best Batman. I completely agree.
Absolutely, yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
Kevin Conroy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He forever. Kevin Conroy will be.
That's not even a question.
And to be clear here, maybe that's why folks might. I don't hate this movie. I think this movie's great. I think it's good and watchable and fun. I wish this would have been Batman Beyond or something, like a completely different take on the character rather than the same rough tread that we've seen multiple times already. You know what I mean? I wish we got old Batman training young Batman Beyond, like the animated series that they did, right? Completely different in the same idea, because that would then allow your Nolan Batman to still breathe for a while, because clearly it still has room to breathe, since the new Batman that's superseding it is still taking certain points from that Batman movie, right? So clearly that Batman movie still matters in the zeitgeist. So I personally would have liked them going to future Batman, cyberpunk Batman, if you will, right?
Yeah, but again, that's what you want, and we can't bring that to the table, and we can't judge the film.
Again, the movie is highly watchable. Personally, I think that because there's so many other parts of this franchise that are so fresh in the minds of Batman viewers, that this doesn't move us forward enough, in my humble opinion. But none of that matters. If you love Batman and you want to watch a Batman movie, this is a Batman movie, and you will not be disappointed, right? You may have nitpicks here and there, as we do, but it's a good movie, and I think it's watchable. Do we disagree? Who disagrees?
It's definitely watchable, and it's a good film. Don't, I know there's some people in the chat that are a little feathers are a little ruffled with some of the.
Well, because people love Batman. If you love
Batman,
this is not the most slanderous that On the Reel has been about Batman. You should check out some past episodes.
No, listen, I am biting my tongue about Batman right now.
DC fans will freely admit that DCEU sucked, and they should have, all these other issues.
Not the
Batman,
not the Snyderverse people.
Oh, well, they're a different breed.
Like, you can't even tell them you like this movie. These Snyderverse people, they will.
For the record, I like this movie, and I also like the Snyderverse movie.
Wow. What, Superman versus Batman?
That to a lesser extent, but I did like the later.
Man of Steel was the best thing in the DCEU, and it's not even.
Man of Steel was actually very underrated.
I didn't dislike Justice League. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I didn't dislike
Which one?
Even the long extended.
I didn't like any of them.
The sexually assaulting, harassing director one, or the one from from Zack Snyder?
I think every movie got progressively worse from Man of Steel. So Man of Steel's the top, then BVS is below that, and then Justice League is below that, even the Snyder Cut.
I think you know why I didn't like Man of Steel?
Josh Whedon's.
That's the bottom of the bottom.
That's the worst. It's terrible.
My
Zack
problem
Snyder's
with Man of Steel,
3.5 hour one was better, but
I agree.
But I don't even think that was better than BVS, and I definitely don't think BVS was better than Man of Steel. So I don't know. I just think they should have let him make a Man of Steel too. Everybody likes Henry Cavill as Superman. That's what.
But the problem with his directing.
Henry's too busy now. He's playing The Witcher, and he's about to be in Mass Effect. So it's
whoa, Mass Effect.
The problem with that.
Wait, no, I need to hear that. Sorry, Mass Effect.
We'll talk about it.
So Amazon is I don't know if they officially inked it yet, but they're doing actually it is official. They're doing a Mass Effect TV show.
And Henry Cavill is going to be Commander Shepard?
Henry Cavill commented about it and then included a screenshot on Twitter in his comment. And when people zoomed in, it looked like it was a script of Mass Effect. Like, people looked at the text and he was mentioning things that were like things from Mass Effect. So
I think they should make Henry Cavill Joker.
Either he's a new character in the universe or he's playing Commander Shepard or something like that.
So listen, guys, this is basically a retread of old ground. This is exactly how he got The Witcher. He's like, I would love to be Geralt of Rivia. 2 weeks after his comments, he was officially Geralt of Rivia. In this instance, Henry Cavill would, quote, love to have a conversation about the Mass Effect TV show. What's happening?
I like that he puts himself out there like that. I mean, hey, the dude want to play those roles, man. Let him rock.
No, but it's not that I think he's just putting himself out there. I think he's in the middle of the conversation, and he's using this to rile up the base.
Sentiment, right?
Okay.
But then, like, is that like okay? I can see that because maybe like if we're just hearing that the deal was done, how was it a script out of nowhere? Like, how was it already a script?
It's exactly like The Witcher, bro.
Right.
It's exactly like The Witcher. He literally said it to IGN, and then literally a week later he got the part. That's not how it works. There was something in the works.
He'd be a great Commander Shepard.
Yes, true. Although the size of him is a little bit, I don't know. Commander Shepard's not a tank. I don't know.
No, well, yeah, well, if you
and Henry Cavill's a tank.
The default model of Shepard.
No, it doesn't matter whether girl or boy. But Henry Cavill's the biggest dude in every room, and that's not Commander Shepard. Just a thought. He's the biggest, burliest dude in every room.
Yeah, but he
used to be that way.
He's going against a lot of aliens. So
exactly. He's never going to be bigger than a Krogan.
Exactly.
Isn't that? We will leave that at there. But isn't that the reason what made Mass Effect and Commander Shepard so special? That he's like an everyman or woman, not necessarily like. Physically endowed in every way.
If you build out your character, he is the baddest person on the board, bro.
No, right, of course he is the baddest, but he doesn't look like it. Is the point? He looks like a normal dude. Like he's not the big, like
I don't know,
scary.
No.
I don't know, bro. I don't know.
Look at default Commander Shepard. That guy looks like he would take out an entire squad of commandos with his eyes closed.
Okay. All right.
He looks like.
Okay.
Look, there's so many times in Mass Effect where your options are like you could actually diffuse a situation just by looking at people and be like, "Do you really want to do this?" And they're just like, "You're right, I really don't." Go ahead.
Okay.
Right. Okay. And his dossier, no matter which way you start, is a bad. He's a badass character.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? His backstory.
My only thing that I will be looking out for is the Krogan better be bigger in every way than whoever Commander Shepard is. And that's hard to do when your Commander Shepard is Henry Cavill.
Oh, we care about canon now? We care about canon now. Oh, the Krogan better be bigger than everyone. I see you guys. Okay.
Krogan, come on. But okay.
I do agree, though. Of course, you know I agree. I played through Mass Effect 5 million times, man. The entire trilogy, that is.
Slow-mo, aren't Mr. saying Healy is like dropping trucks and that's a problem? Come on now, canon. You know.
Side swiping trucks out here, man. They're saying Gilly on alien growth hormone, man.
Hey, Pragmatic Eagle, I will never forgive them for what they did to the turtles.
Oh
where they made them like into the Hulk. It was disgusting.
Yeah, and they made the look CG ugliness. Yeah, I've watched the old school like dudes in suits one recently because I have kids.
The first one still holds up.
It still holds up, man. The second one still holds up. The third falls off a cliff, but hey, that's neither here nor there.
I did want to touch on something Big Man Mo said, and I agree with him because it's something that actually David Gator. It was David Gator who was the lead writer for Dragon Age, so he worked for BioWare, and he's about how BioWare creates stories. Is that like they made it the main character kind of to be like some very dynamic. It can be pulled in very different ways. If you want to be evil, you can be evil. If you want it to be a goody two shoes Paragon, you can do that. They didn't put too much story in the character itself. Therefore, he kind of felt like a Mass Effect TV show would be very difficult to do because who is Shepard really? Shepard could be like
Shepard is whoever you want him to be.
Exactly.
To tell
so you're saying Shepard shouldn't take off his mask?
What mask? So, but like he said, what they did, and the reason why people love their story so much is that when people talk about Mass Effect, they do talk about Shepard, but they talk more about Miranda Loss, and they talk more about Garrus, talk about Tali, the other surrounding characters that are so great and have so many layers, and people love them. Like, those are the characters that really build up what Mass Effect is really about. And so you could have, like, if I do think the best way to do that is not have Cavill be Shepard, but have Cavill be a whole
Krogan.
Different character. Let
Cavill be a Krogan, because he's the biggest dude in any room. I mean, come on.
they would need to focus it on like a different character, and then kind of, and have it like set within the universe, or even try to bridge with the end of the trilogy into what Mass Effect 4 is going to be, or something like that.
So, what do y'all think of a FemShep? Would that be a no-go?
No, you can do that.
FemShep had a big following for a long time, and I actually appreciate it. I have a playthrough of FemShep, and I appreciate it.
The only casting I care about is Garrus.
FemShep is awesome. I finished the FemShep.
The coolest dude in the universe.
Okay. So to wrap it up, before we wrap up, I do want to mention one thing to bring Halo back. By the way, they don't give you the numbers, but Halo is now considered the highest, the most viewed thing on Paramount Plus in the last 24 hours.
Yeah, but that could be that could be 3 people, like with Paramount Plus.
And to set the standard of where they're going, the last record they hit was 4.9 million people, and this beats that by a wide margin. They won't give you the numbers, but I think it was 1886, a documentary or a movie they did. That was 4.9 million people in 24 hours watched that. And this is much bigger and better than that, they say.
Yeah, well, I mean, Halo Infinite had 20 million people launch. How many people play it at launch? How many of us are playing it at the moment? So hopefully all of those people stay up with it.
Come on now.
Come on
now. You can't thread a gas game needle into a TV show. Come on now. Anyway, go ahead.
To their credit, I wasn't subscribed to them, but now, after seeing Halo, I went over to Picard, and
then you can go to Discovery.
Show, 5 hours in, huh?
From Picard, you go over to Discovery.
Go to Discovery.
Yeah, so they might got me on this one. So
both shows are great.
It's a good
Picard season 1, not so good. Season 2, amazing. You know, there's some things to be watched there. So there you go. All right. So I think we covered the spread pretty well, don't you think?
We did, and if this was GCP, we would talk about that terrible pricing leak, because it seems like the pricing even got worse since the first leak for PlayStation
I'm
Plus.
hoping that's fake. I'm hoping
it
that's
better
fake,
be,
because that's man.
Woo!
That's bad.
You know what? I hope that it's real, because I need to break out the popcorn.
You need some consternation on the internet.
I just want to say to everybody listening, $20 a month, no day and date.
That's the problem. That's going to be the biggest problem. If I don't see day and date, it's an out. I don't care how you spend it. I don't care. For $20, you better.
I need you all to be ready for all of the people that spent the last 2 years poo-pooing subscription services.
Oh yeah.
Talking about how it's going to be the death of the industry. I want you to watch that those same people will be defending these this pricing structure. Whether it's real or fake, they will be all about subscriptions and how this one's better for us.
If this is real, do you think they transition people into this, or is it a choice the way with Xbox? It's a choice to get into Game Pass. You can't go backwards after you go into it.
No, I think
it's automatic.
I think with Sony, I think it's going to be automatic, and I think
that's going to be a problem, because there is no you're either forcing people to take less in order to get what they had before. It's like, okay, so the bronze of what we're seeing is what people had before, and that's just PlayStation
but that's
Plus
more.
Cheaper.
That's more than
that's every 3 months. So that's $10 every 3 months is $40 versus the $60 for the year.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
the breakdown is the lowest tier is like $3
right,
a month
but
or something like that.
Yeah, but the difference from that to silver's more than what PlayStation Plus is. And all you're getting is game streaming and free game demos.
Well,
and that
free game demos is different, right? You would get the free games, not demos. So it's technically what you have now is gold.
Let me go back to look at this. Gold.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
The demos are something new.
Yeah. Yeah. So
right. Okay. Yeah. So that is free monthly games.
Bronze is not PlayStation Plus as we know it today.
No, it's not, because you don't get the free monthly games in that.
Oh, it's a lower tier than PlayStation Plus. We know it today. So PlayStation Plus, as we know it today, is silver or is it gold?
It's gold, but without the
in the store discount.
Yeah.
So it's gold.
Interesting.
But like they kind of have interwoven some things that are PS Now in this, like
you know what, gentlemen? I believe this. Why? Because the last pricing we heard of was so blatantly one-to-one comparable that it made PlayStation just look plainly bad. So they basically took all of the offerings and jumbled them up, so you can't do a like-for-like comparison anymore. This looks more believable to me.
Yeah, but still, they're saying for demos, you're going to pay $120 a year for what you're getting for $60 a year today.
Yeah, and it looks believable to me.
Now,
because this is gold is $160 a year, where for a little bit less than this, take the game streaming out, you were getting this for $60 a month.
Basically,
I'm sorry, $60 a year. That's more than 100% increase.
Game streaming and demos, right? You didn't get demos before.
Yeah, well, yeah, you did. Because look, there was a free demo for Strangers of Paradise just a few weeks ago.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with the subscription service. That was just PlayStation.
No,
what do you call it?
I
Square.
You had to have PS Plus to get that thing.
Really? You had to have PS Plus to play the demo?
I believe so. I may be wrong, but I think that's the case.
So here's the thing: if this is real, right? And I've been saying this for the last couple of weeks now. Charge these people more. They all keep talking about how they got the money and support the developers, and they want to pay for these things, and they're making excuses for GT7. And you're gonna watch them slow mo, Pixel, K Asante, everybody in the chat. I want you to watch next week. If you say something about the price of this, I guarantee you're going to have people in your mentions pushing back about how this is fair and it's cool. I guarantee you that's going to happen. So
I think my biggest issue with this is that if you don't care for now and you have PS Plus, there's no avenue for you to just keep what you had.
Yeah, I think that they're going to basically
stuff that you had with more expensive things, and you just end up with in order to keep from having to spend more on an annual basis for what you already had.
I think whatever you have, you'll be godfathered into one of the tiers. And to me,
I think they drop
maybe it's silver. They're going to have to or something. But then you're not going to get free games anymore. So how can they do that?
Right.
You get demos. You're talking about.
Yeah, but demos is not the same thing as the free games.
Yeah, you get 2 free games a year. I mean, I'm sorry, a month you get 2 free games. Yeah.
This is going to be the arguing point for people this week, right? It's still a game, even though it's just a demo. Somebody's going to say it.
So
because they can't. So.
And this is like the only way this works for me, and it's still the price is still too high, right? I'm not saying because Xbox is doing day and date, they need to do day and date. But I don't think you can come in at a higher price and not do day and date. And even if you say Sony games are so good, Sony games are like Spider-Man No Way Home. You're not going to put that in on Netflix on day one. It'll come there later. But I think you need a predefined window if I'm paying for this service. I think you need to say all of our first-party games will come in 45 days or 60 days or whatever that window is, and then people can walk into that service knowing what they're getting. But if it's going to say...
I don't think it will be that early. Because they don't want to step on their retail toes. So, like, they don't want they like even now what you look at what they're doing with PC and increasingly more they're adding games over to PC and they talked about Sean Layden said this and even Jim Ryan said it before about giving those games a second retail life. They don't, but Sean Layden now recognizes the PC market is very different than the PlayStation market. They're just people over there who just I'm not buying a closed piece of hardware, period. So they even though they may enjoy those kind of games, they're not going to buy a PlayStation to have what they would call a GIMP experience. That said, they do know that a third of PC gamers own PlayStations. And so if they're not going to go, they want you to double dip essentially. So they're going to wait until the sales of that game on PlayStation have hit a point where it's never going to recover. It's never going to go back up. Then they'll put that on another thing. So like
there are two problems here. There are two problems with their top tier. It's not that it just doesn't do a day and date content, but there are comparable services to view it against, and you're getting less. Even if you don't have the day and date, you also don't get the PC version of the game. Right? That tier is above Xbox, is above Game Pass Ultimate.
You know what?
So,
what I just
let me ask a question.
Just one thing before you continue.
Go ahead.
This is the 3-month pricing. Usually at any subscription service, you get a prorated rate. You get a discount for doing 3 months at a time. Is this even more expensive if you go month to month?
Let's assume it's not, right? Let's assume it's not.
But okay. Is everybody watching the same? Is everybody looking at the same screenshot that I am? It says subscribe to PlayStation Plus Neo at the top.
Yes.
Yes.
So what's up with that? It says it's called PlayStation Plus Neo, but there are 4 different tiers, and each of them are called different things. And the second one on the list, from bronze to silver, has a typo in the pricing. One says $29.99, and the add to cart is $24.99.
Yeah. So this might be fake.
Yeah, we're not.
It doesn't look like it's all kosher beef right here.
We're hoping it's not real, right?
Yeah.
The structure of this doesn't make any sense, but I think to me the lower tiers wouldn't even bother me that much. Mm-hmm. It's the higher tier that I'm gonna have that I think people will have the biggest issues with, because if you're doing it this way and you're not giving the other value, it's like, okay, what am I comparing it to? The especially with the Platinum not getting the PS5 games early enough, right? It's not like they give the PS4 games. Like, how many PS4 games are in the current service that they have now?
It's a significant number. A lot of the games that are downloadable are PS4 games in there. The only ones that are still like basically streaming only are PS3 games for obvious reasons. With the way those games were created, X64 games. So a lot of the ones that stayed streaming are just PS3. Everything else is PS4. But what I think is something that
Hey, look under the 39. It feels like this is like Photoshop. It feels like this, if you can see like almost like a line like that was kind of added in there. It's weird. And I know this is like a picture from a screen, so maybe that's what it is, but it does look a little off. This pricing can't be real because it's too stupid. So I'm gonna give Sony the benefit of the doubt on this. So Sony is Yeah. All right. So, and Mo is saying that he can't hear slow mo. I hear you perfectly. If you guys in the chat, slow mo speaking, if you can hear him. Oh, so yeah, that's probably because I'm showing. Okay, let me go back to the regular. All right, he should be back.
Yes. And now people be able to hear me. Yeah, look, I'm glad I'm able to actually see your OBS because I can kind of see like
how I'm
some
messing
of
up.
Hey, look, we all been there, bro. I've made the same. Look, you should have seen DPS in the early times where I had like a browser tab up with the show playing and just doing the echo over and over again for like 15 minutes.
This dude went to Paris. He went to Paris for one weekend, and the show ended up going back to StreamYard because we screwed the pooch so badly on the OBS.
Yeah, see what happens when I'm not here.
Yeah, then you show up and you mute us all, so that's neither here.
What can I say? All right, listen, folks. It's 1:30. I have training for my dogs at 2:00, so I think we gotta cut this thing short here.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Slow Mo Backslap, thank you for joining us.
Yo.
And
thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. And you weren't as bad on the Halo takes as I thought you were.
Hey, look, man, I'm a very, very objective, even keel
until it comes to Doom.
You know,
but
there you go.
But look, I appreciate the invite. For everyone watching, you can check me out on basically Slow Mo Backslap on everything: Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. I am working on an Elden Ring review. It may be out later today or tomorrow. I'm almost done with it. It's going to be at least 20 minutes long. I'm going deep pause into Elden Ring and going to give you a lot of you know. I'm not going to be the kind of person that's like it's the greatest game ever, nor am I going to be the person that's like it's just Dark Souls in the open world. So check that out. It's coming out soon. Also, I'm probably going to go live in a little bit once I get my kids fed on my Twitch channel by the same name, Slow Mo Backslap. And I'm going to go live with my first time playing Tiny Tina Wonderland because I'm a big Borderlands fan. I can't wait to get into that one too. That character creator, I heard some things, and as you know, when it comes to representation and character creators, if it ain't up to snuff, we're gonna get into it. So yeah.
I'll be watching.
I'm just rounding out 90 hours in Elden Ring. I'm on level 65. And I'm in the land. Bro. I think I'm in the Land of the Giants, the snow region. So we'll see how that goes.
4 different characters, a total of 180 hours. And I think my highest character is 170.
Wow.
And I beat the game, but I haven't done everything yet. And I'm gonna eventually get the platinum, but I'm not doing the save scrubbing.
Oh, by the way, did you beat the Blood King, Moog, whatever his name is?
Not yet.
I
haven't
got
fought
you.
him yet.
No. In the sewers of Lindell, right? The catacombs.
Mm-hmm.
There is an item you can get called the Shackles of Moog. And if you use it, it basically pauses him for a few seconds so you can get some hits off. But you can't spam it.
Oh, cool.
Because then it won't work on him anymore. So you got to use it, get some hits off, wait like 15, 20 seconds, use it again. However, if you use those shackles 3 times outside of the door, it breaks him, and when you walk in there, he can't attack you.
What?
Yep. And
like as a buff?
And the only thing you have to be careful of, because I had to switch away from my greatsword, you cannot stagger him because then it puts him back in his loop. But you
okay, so just So just basically just hit him with some light attack until
just keep
he
hitting him.
he dies.
Like hit him like 4 or 5 times. Wait 10 seconds.
So
4 or 5 times.
Audience, I once again reiterate, Mr. Everborn Saga needs to start the Everborn Saga Elden Ring podcast because this man has all the farm spots. Like, he has it to memory at this point. Like, we need.
Listen, if
this
you want to
tutelage
know
in
where
video.
this Shackles of Maug is at, I'll show you where it's at. It's where the lobsters are in the catacombs of Lindell.
Oh, here we go. See, we need a
Easy
whole
million
thing.
rooms.
Anyway, continue. Listen to this man.
I'm trying to find all of the cheeses. Like I'm about to fight a giant with a bow and arrow from across the mountain because there's ways to do it. Listen, we can talk. If you got questions, Everborn Saga everywhere. That's my outro. That's it.
That's it.
Listen. One thing I do want to say. Everborn Saga everywhere. The hardcover books from the Kickstarter came in yesterday evening. So I will begin packaging them up and sending out everybody's rewards on Monday. So if you filled out your survey, you will be getting your books next week. So everybody that supported the campaign, if you had anything more than the promised tier and the early bird special, you've gotten those already. But we were waiting on the hardcovers because we hit our first milestone. So the hardcovers are in, books are going out. And if you missed the Kickstarter, Everborn, the Redlands Chapter 1 is available on everbornsaga.com right now. And later on today, I think, after I get back from this dog training, I'm going to be doing a podcast with Xbox University. I think I have to call him after that. And Monday, PTG, where I'm sure we're going to be talking about these ridiculous pricing structure. Hopefully it's fake. And that's it. And I was just on ACG's channel, so check out his channel.
Yeah. It was a good airing of you on that channel. It was a good show. I really appreciate it. It was fun. It was good. How about you, Mr. Pixelbit G? How about you tell us where you will be and what you're doing and all of that?
Nothing here to peddle, but you can find me on Twitter under Pixelbit OGD. As always, man, I appreciate being on the show with both of you guys, as well as my brother Slow Mo. Good talk today about Halo, and I need to finally go see Batman. All right.
Yes, you do. All right. Well, I'll keep mine short and sweet. TKO Asante everywhere. Thank you guys so much for checking out the show. On the Reel is back. We're going to work some logistics as to where it will fit into our feed, but this specific episode will be on the Gaming Circle podcast feed. I will add it to the audio listeners as well. So if you haven't had a chance to catch On the Reel, we will put it in the audio feed as well, so people can check out the different show that we do. You follow both of us, myself and Mr. Everborn Saga. When On the Reel is coming back again for its weekly run, you will see when that is. We appreciate everybody for coming to check us out. Likes, subscribes, follow everybody. Let's keep the conversation still going. And next week, the Gaming Circle podcast will be back at its regularly scheduled time, and you will hear more information about the On the Reel and when it will be returning.
Going forward, we'll work those things out.
That's right. So, again, you can catch me, TKO Asante, Twitter, Xbox, PlayStation, everywhere, and also the Halo Show. I'm just saying. But we're ready to hit that outro, Mr. Everborn Saga. If you can take us home.
And we are, I think, hopefully this works, out of here.